Chapter 1199. Yi Yuanqing said softly, "Shan Yu, our real enemy is not the royal family, but the mysterious Dong Huang family." Did General Yi say that? Shan Yu asked curiously. He had also heard of this mysterious family. Yi Yuanqing nodded. Yes, my big brother told me to be careful. Even if I become the emperor, I have to be careful of the Dong Huang surname. Since Prince Yi said so, then we really have to pay attention. Now, we still have to seize the throne. Shan Yu actually knew that the fight for the throne this time was not so simple. Yi Yuanqing's advantage was in the army. He had his father's faction in the imperial court, and many people had yet to express their stance. Some of them were even thinking about the royal family. If Lord Yi could come back at this time, then the royal family would not be so arrogant. However, Shan Yu also knew that Lord Yi didn't come back because he wanted to train his sister. There were some things that needed to be fought for by oneself. Only then would one know the hardships involved. However, he still hoped that Lord Yi would be there. That way, things would be much simpler. After all, the royal family was still very afraid of Lord Yi. Although Yi Yuanqing was Lord Ye's sister, Lord Yi did not express his stance. The royal family believed that Prince Yi had a laissez-faire attitude. Whoever had the ability would be the emperor. This was indeed Yi Hua's attitude. Of course, if his little sister was to lose in the end, as the big brother, he would still have to save her. However, Yi Hua believed in Yi Yuanqing's strength. Tomorrow will be an important day. Yi Yuanqing said in a low voice and took a sip of tea. He felt that this was more tiring than being a general. Tomorrow would be the final decision, and he did not know how it would end. Shan Yu said in a deep voice, "General Yi, the military power in your hands cannot be wasted. Shan Yu, the royal family also has military power. But the morale of the army is with you. As long as General Yi says a word, I believe all the generals will stand behind General Yi. I know, but this is no different from usurping the throne. After all, I am not a member of the royal family. If I want to be the emperor, I have to follow the hearts of the people. Recently, the emperor has done good deeds and gained a lot of fame. He even sent people to spread the news that I want to take the throne. The hearts of the people are about to collapse," Yi Yuanqing said in a low voice. Shan Yu couldn't hold it in any longer and growled, "Yi Yuanqing. How did you become a general? He wasn't decisive in his killing. This is the imperial court, just like a battlefield. You've held back. The enemy will kill you. And you're the one who's going to be the empress. There are some things that you have to make a choice. Put away your conscience." "No, if I put away my conscience, what's the difference between sitting on the throne and others? I want to benefit the gods' realm, I don't want to play those tricks. If you want to fight, then fight fair and square." Shan Yu held on to his forehead. "My God. How did you become a general? You have to act according to the situation, this is a struggle for political power. What you do on the battlefield is useless. Then you still have to sit on the throne. You can't even sit on the throne, so how can you talk about benefiting the gods' realm?" Shan Yu tried his best to persuade Yi Yuanqing. If not, he wouldn't be in such a passive position. If Yi Yuanqing made a move, he would be able to counterattack. However, Yi Yuanqing wouldn't let him. Shan Yu finally knew how troublesome this woman was, she was simply intoxicating. If women were all so troublesome, he would rather not marry for the rest of his life. "I won't forget my original intentions. If worse comes to worst, I'll just get scolded by Big Brother." "Yi Yuanqing. Do you think that it's just scolding? You are fighting with Huang Min. If Huang Min has the authority of the emperor, do you think that Yi family can still be saved? Can you not be childish?" Shan Yu couldn't help but roar. This woman is simply stupid to the extreme. father actually asked me to come and assist him, I'm going to be angered to death at any moment. Yi Yuanqing looked towards Shan Yu. Although the latter's strength wasn't strong, he still glared back at Shan Yu. I have already made up my mind, let's meet during the morning court session tomorrow, I'm going to rest. After speaking, Yi Yuanqing returned to his room, leaving behind Shan Yu who was standing at the same spot in a daze. If I don't move my troops, I will definitely lose tomorrow. However, Yi Yuanqing also knew about this point, but he didn't expect that it would be so difficult, to the point that even if he wanted to change his original intentions, he wouldn't be able to do it. During the 1 month that he came back, Yi Yuanqing was both mentally and physically exhausted. Sometimes, he really didn't want to be an emperor anymore. Especially when he heard the slander that the people had towards him, he felt very sad. In the end, Yi Yuanqing was only a general. Being an emperor and being a general were two different things. A good general might not be a good emperor. Shan Yu had no choice but to leave. I have to go back and talk to my father about this matter, and whether or not I should support the royal family during the morning court session tomorrow. If not, Shan family is going to perish. Accompanying a monarch is like accompanying a tiger. Back then, if Shan Yu were to stand on Yi Yuanqing's side, it would mean that he was standing on the opposite side of the royal family. If Shan Yu were to lose, would the new emperor, Huang Min, be able to forgive Shan Yu? That is impossible. All of Yi family's factions are going to die. Shan Yu can't let Shan family take the risk. Therefore, when Shan Yu returned home, he immediately went to look for his father. Shan Junren's left hand was holding onto a book, and his right hand was holding onto a teacup. From time to time, he would take a sip of the tea, appearing to be very leisurely and not worried in the slightest. Father, why do you still have the mood to drink tea and read a book? Our family is going to perish soon. Shan Yu shouted out anxiously. Why don't you think of a way to escape from this calamity? Shan Junren took a look at his son and said lightly, how many times have I taught you, even if the sky were to collapse, you still have to maintain a calm heart, only then would you be able to judge the problem rationally. Father, are you saying that I have lost my rationality? I haven't, I am very rational right now. Being so impatient, it will be hard for you to achieve great things. Shan Junren took a glare at his son. Looking at how anxious Shan Yu was, sweat was already coming out from his forehead. Shan Yu was very unconvinced. Father, Yi Yuanqing doesn't even have the intention to counterattack at all, he is being so passive, causing us to lose such a good situation. Right now, that Huang Min already has a 70 to 80% chance of winning. If we were to lose, the crime of our family being exterminated, father, that is indeed the case. Shan Junren nodded his head, he was still very calm. Shan Yu didn't understand, father. Exterminate the family. We are not exterminating the insects. Father knows. Then why isn't father making any plans? Shan Yu found it hard to believe. In the past, father always had a strategic plan, but now, it seems like, father has already given up on resisting. Shan Junren placed down the book in his hand and asked his son, Shan Yu, what do you want father to do? Tell me about it. Father, there are only two ways that we can do right now. The first way is to ignore Yi Yuanqing, we will counterattack ourselves, fight for an opportunity, and fight to the death. The second way, before Shan Yu could finish speaking, Shan Junren said lightly, is it to rely on the royal family side and fight for an opportunity to survive? Shan Yu took a deep breath, then nodded his head, yes. Then, have you thought about what to do after you rely on the royal family? Live. End of this chapter. Chapter 1200. Shan Junren indifferently said, it's just a fate worse than death. Shan Yu, you are still too young. If we surrender, we won't have a place to stand. The emperor will find an excuse sooner or later. It's just a matter of when we die. Shan Yu didn't say anything because what his father said made sense. As early as we choose, there is no way back. Since General Yi is not willing to use intrigue, then accompany her above board. Shan Junren chuckled. But father, how can we win openly? We can't win at all. Shan Yu said in a low voice, his eyes filled with worry. Shan Junren sighed heavily and slowly said, "Do you think Lord Yi will let his sister die?" After being pointed out by his father, Shan Yu suddenly understood. Suddenly, he slapped his own face. It was really a loud slap. Your son has learned his lesson. I'm still too young. Shan Yu had forgotten a problem. If the royal family wanted to deal with the Yi family, they would have to go through Prince Yi. As long as the Yi clan did not fall, the Shan clan would not fall either. Shan Junren was shocked to see his son slap him so hard. Don't slap yourself so hard in the future. If others see it, they might think that I'm the one who did it. Yes, father, I will go into the house to prepare. Tomorrow will be a fierce battle. Go. Victory or defeat is not important. Calm down. Shan Junren was still a scheming person. Lord Yi would definitely not sit idly by. When Shan Yu heard this, he seemed to gain a lot of confidence. He quickly ran back to his room and prepared his speech for tomorrow. All of this needed to be simulated in his mind so that his opponent would not be able to retaliate. However, Yi Yuanqing had his eyes closed and couldn't fall asleep at all. He felt that he was going to disappoint his big brother this time. This is really throwing away big brother's face. I can't even get my hands on the throne, my younger sister is still not ruthless enough, sigh, but right at this moment, the entire spirit capital resounded with a loud noise. Dong dong dong. The bell rang throughout the entire spirit capital, and everyone was jolted awake at this moment. Yi Yuanqing turned pale with fright. The bell that signaled the fall of Lingdu. Everyone was shocked. Nothing had happened to the body of the blade. How could it be lost? Not even a scream could be heard. Everyone was shocked. Dong dong dong, the continuous ringing of the bell reminded everyone that the spirit capital had fallen. The entire spirit capital city was instantly lit up. Everyone came out of their houses and looked on curiously. There were also many people who took to the skies. In Lingdu City, flying was not allowed under any other circumstances, unless one had the emperor's permission. As a great general, Yi Yuanqing was definitely rushing at the front. Yuanqing. Why are you running so fast? Come back here. Yi Shan shouted as he followed behind. How powerful must they be in order to take down the spiritual capital? Silly daughter, why did you run to the front again? Father already lost a son, father does not want to lose another daughter. In actuality, in Yi Shan's heart, Yi Hua was already dead. The current Yi Hua was no longer the Yi Hua from back then. It had to be said that Yi Shan's sixth sense was very accurate. He even knew this. I, 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 he, I, then my. I. In actuality, Spirit City was truly very big, and for those overlords who were flying in the sky, they would be able to fly very far in a single breath's time. However, right now, 3 breaths had already passed, and they had only arrived at the entrance of the city. The 100+ people standing in the sky were the fastest overlords. However, there was not a single member of the royal family. I have to say, the royal family had already fallen, they did not even have a single overlord. But just like what Huang Min said, as a manager, why do you need strength? What you need is courage. And yet, there were actually people who believed it. This kind of theory was unheard of, but it was worth a try. But this was the god's realm, a place where strength was respected. Without strength, how could one convince the masses? Just like now, not a single member of the royal family could come out to battle. Hundreds of people stood in the sky and looked down. But outside the city, it was completely silent. There was no army, not even a shadow. The bell above the city gate was still shaking, and the people were indeed gone. Everyone felt a chill down their spine. Yi Yuanqing's position was the highest. Right now, Qian Yi stood at the side and asked respectfully, "General Yi, what should we do now?" "Investigate. We must get to the bottom of what happened tonight. Why did the bell ring for no reason? Where did the people guarding the city go?" Just as Yi Yuanqing finished speaking, a ferocious and sharp aura came attacking. The speed was so fast that it made everyone speechless. This attack, the air seemed to have solidified, and everyone seemed to have been frozen in place. A ray of cold light immediately blossomed, and the tip of the sword went straight for Yi Yuanqing's forehead. Yi Yuanqing was startled, his entire body was unable to move, and he could not even take out the bell. Big Brother said, as long as he was in a dangerous situation, there would be a surprise by ringing the bell. But right now, he was unable to move at all, and he could only watch as the ferocious sharp sword attacked. Right now, the cold wind was whistling, and only that ray of silver cold light was left, as if it was going to pierce through the heaven and earth. Everyone was unable to believe it. There was actually someone who used such a sword. The might of this sword shocked the 100 overlords. They were unable to move. Oh! Yi Shan looked at his daughter and suddenly let out a terrifying howl. Yi Shan, who was burning with anxiety, actually made a breakthrough at this moment. The aura of an overlord spread out, and his body turned into an afterimage as he flew towards his daughter. In that instant, Yi Yuanqing felt that his body was knocked away by his father, and then he saw his father. That sword pierced through his father's chest, and the ferocious sword qi even blew away the clouds. From this, it could be seen how powerful this sword was. A bloody hole appeared on Yi Shan's chest, and one could even see the person behind him through the bloody hole. Everyone was stunned. Yi Shan lowered his head and looked at his chest, then turned around and looked at his daughter. A trace of a smile appeared on Yi Shan's face, and soon after, he descended from the sky. A muffled sound rang out, and Yi Shan crashed into a house. Yi Yuanqing looked at his father, and his expression was exceptionally malevolent, and his eyes were bloodshot. Yi Yuanqing looked at the figure, and saw that the figure had a pair of strange pupils. The dark purple pupils seemed exceptionally demonic in the darkness of the night, and the figure had a calm expression as he swept his gaze across everyone. The sword in his hand was still dripping with blood. If Li Hun was here, he would definitely know who he was. Dou Fushi. Dou Fushi, who was completely blackened, and had even been forcefully modified by Qing Su, was practically someone who could kill even gods. Dou Fushi slowly turned his head around and looked towards Yi Yuanqing. He felt that she was the boss here, and that was why he directly rushed over just now. However, he didn't expect that the old man would push him away. It was a bit of a pity. "I want to borrow your teleportation portal for a while," Dou Fushi said boldly. Everyone was startled. They didn't expect that Dou Fushi would actually want to borrow this portal. What is he doing here? End of this chapter. Chapter 1201. Teleportation was naturally used to send things to other planes. Some planes were very special and could only rely on Spirit Capital's teleportation formation, which was a unique formation. Perhaps gods were not the strongest, but their bloodline was the noblest. All their strength originated from the god realm. So no matter how strong a plane was, the people inside were all from the god realm, just that they pursued higher realms. Facing this man's request, the hundreds of supremes refused. Because everyone knew the importance of teleportation. They were the guardians of Spirit Capital and had the responsibility to stop it. But this time, it would not be so easy to stop it. Because this was Dou Fusher after being modified by Qing Su. If the previous Dou Fusher was Wei Chong version 1.0, then this was Qing Su version 2.9. No one knew what Dou Fusher had been through these days. It was as if he had been tortured by Qing Su, but he no longer had any consciousness. He did not know what resistance was, nor did he know what pain was. He only knew one thing. Dou Fusher waved the long sword in his hand. A crescent sword chi instantly shot to the side. This sword chi was terrifying, emitting a violent astral wind that seemed to be able to pierce through everything. Whoosh! 10 Supremes were instantly sliced in half. They did not even have time to react, and even if they did not dare to move due to this aura. Yi Yuanqing's face turned pale when he saw this. Killing 10 Supremes in one move. This man. Who was he? Primordial spirits instantly appeared, and Dou Fusher waved his hand again. Even the primordial spirits could not escape. Everyone was in despair. To be able to kill Supremes in one move, he must be above Supremes. Yi Yuanqing looked at the sword in Dou Fusher's hand, wondering if this sword was very strong. But this was just an ordinary long sword of the city guards. This made Yi Yuanqing very uneasy. Looking at the broken roof, Yi Yuanqing was anxious. How was his father's injury? But his father's primordial spirit did not come out, so he should still be saved. Dou Fusher asked again, "Where is the teleportation? I do not wish to see your expressions of rejection." Everyone did not know what expression to show, because they were not his match at all. He could kill them all in one move. We Supremes were like lambs in a pen, waiting to be slaughtered. Dou Fusher's gaze swept across the crowd, his expression turning solemn. This version of Dou Fusher was probably rarely seen by others, because Dou Fusher had always been a joker. Even if he kept a straight face, he would still make people laugh out loud. This was a person who lived for comedy, but what about now? The smile had disappeared and was replaced by a terrifying killing intent. Just now, you even dared to kill his honor's little sister. It even injured Yi Shan directly. Of course, Dou Floating World couldn't be blamed for this. He didn't know this person either. Yi Yuanqing had never seen Dou Fusher before, so even if he did, it would be useless. Hey, why is it taking you so long to ask for directions? At this moment, a fat man shouted from the street below them. The fat man was none other than Qing Su. A man with a demonic existence. Dou Fusher's expression changed. This change in expression shocked everyone, because it was a sign of fear. Could it be that the person below was even more powerful? Then why didn't he fly up? Dou Fusher landed in front of Qing Su and knelt down. Qing Su's huge body leapt up and sat firmly on Dou Fusher's back. "Let's go up and take a look." Yes. Qing Su didn't know how to fly, and his body was the same as an ordinary person's. This might be Qing Su's weakness. Although it was a weakness, Qing Su's aim was to get rid of this weakness. Right now, everyone was looking at Dou Fusher with astonishment on their faces. This fatty. He actually sat on the back of that expert just now and flew up into the sky. And that expert just now seemed to be very sincere. What is going on? Which one of you is the one speaking here? Qing Su asked curiously. He lightly wriggled his prayer beads, looking like he was a good person and wouldn't randomly kill people. "I am." Yi Yuanqing shouted out. "How about we borrow a teleportation portal?" "No." Qing Su's small eyes narrowed. "No. I will allow you to reorganize your words." "No." Yi Yuanqing shouted out angrily. "Even if I have to risk my life. I have to defend. Ling City is not allowed to be invaded by anyone. Little girl, you have to use your brain when doing things. If you don't use your brain, you will die." Ching Su said with a smile. However, right after Ching Su finished speaking, the 5 overlords could be seen grabbing onto their throats and struggling in the air. This kind of struggling gradually became twisted, just like a kind of mollusk. The limbs of the 5 overlords were twisting in a strange direction, and even their heads were turning 360 degrees. Blood flowed out from their skin. Bang! 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 5 muffled sounds rang out consecutively. Blood blossomed out from the 5 overlords, and even their primordial spirits were blown up. Everyone was stupefied. What happened just now? Just where are we? Why are we able to die just like that without any aura fluctuation? This doesn't make sense. This goes against the laws of nature. Ching Su is such a person, he kills with his mouth. If he wants someone to die, that person will definitely die. Of course, he doesn't really use his mouth, he uses poison. The existence of the poison cannot be felt at all, this is what makes Ching Su scary. However, Qian Yi, who was in the team, suddenly thought of something. More than 10 years ago, she met a person. That person was very strong. Strong to the point that he killed half of the overlords. He also used his mouth to say it. That's right, that person was Ching Su, but at that time, everyone was fighting for themselves, and Ching Su had no one to protect him. At that time, Ching Su wasn't so abnormal, and couldn't instantly poison others to death, so some people could take advantage of him. But now, Ching Su completely has this ability. Instant poison. However, Qian Yi didn't dare to confirm whether it was him or not, because his body was too big, and had already surpassed the range of fat people. Little girl, you have to be responsible for your words. Ching Su smiled. I'll let you choose again. Ching Su said indifferently. However, just as he finished speaking, another overlord started to twitch. What do you mean? Yi Yuanqing couldn't help but shout. Ching Su said softly, little girl, I'm an impatient person, so you have to make a decision quickly, because their lives are in your hands. Just as he finished speaking, that overlord slapped his palm on the top of his head, and even his primordial spirit was smashed into pieces. A circle of air bloomed in the air, and spread out in all directions. Everyone heard what he said just now. I can't take it anymore. Kill me. Just kill me. Ching Su sat cross-legged on Do Fusher's back, and watched quietly. This person had just died, and yet another overlord started to act strangely, and blood started to flow out of the corner of his mouth, and there were even 2 streams of blood flowing out. End of this chapter. Chapter 1202. At this moment, everyone started panicking. They were scared. Right now, they were no longer gods, they were just children who were scared badly, and all of them were shivering. Even Yi Yuanqing and Qian Yi were scared, they had never seen such a killing method before. However, Qian Yi was still thinking, could this fatty be a teacher? Otherwise, how could he be so powerful? General Yi. One of the overlords finally couldn't endure the fear in his heart and shouted out Yi Yuanqing's name. Yi Yuanqing naturally knew what he was going to say, but, General Yi. Everyone couldn't help but shout out. These two. I can't even defeat the small one, let alone the big one. Sweat flowed down from Yi Yuanqing's forehead, and the sweat flowed down along his exquisite face. How did he do it? To be able to silently kill an overlord. I have never seen such a killing method before. And the one that suppressed them was the man under his butt. Yet, that man was willing to be sat on by him. Just who is this fatty? Right now, Yi Yuanqing had no choice but to compromise. If he continues to waste more time, all of them might die. Alright, I promise you. Yi Yuanqing said gravely. It was very difficult to make such a decision. After all, the teleportation site was strictly guarded, and it was said that even if they died, they couldn't let bad people enter. This was also why they wanted to beg for mercy, but didn't dare to say that they would let the people go. Because, if they really let the people go, although the people didn't die, they would still have to take the blame. At such a time, only Yi Yuanqing could take the blame. Qing Su nodded and said softly, "Little girl, don't play any tricks, otherwise, even Buddha will find it hard to save them. Do you understand?" Yi Yuanqing originally wanted to ring the bell as soon as he relaxed, but after hearing such a threat, Yi Yuanqing hesitated. If he really rang the bell, they might all die. These were the majority of the overlords in Spiritual City. The number of overlords was still quite small, and it wasn't easy to nurture one, so everyone cherished them very much. Losing one meant losing a portion of strength. Therefore, Yi Yuanqing didn't dare to act recklessly. "I will bring you two over." Soon after, he said to Qian Yi, "I will leave my father to you. Don't worry." Qian Yi nodded, indicating that she would take care of her father. "Both of you, follow me," Yi Yuanqing said in a deep voice. Qing Su's voice suddenly became cold. "If you dare to lie to me, then no one in this city will survive." "I'm serious." Qing Su wasn't joking, he really wanted to do that, but the most important thing right now was to go to a place and find an important medicinal ingredient. Yi Yuanqing did not say anything. He was considering whether he should ring the bell or not. However, he did not dare to bet the lives of the entire city. He could not afford to do so. Everyone only saw General Yi walking with two strange men. They were very confused. Didn't the emperor bell ring just now? Why is General Yi here? Soon, Yi Yuanqing brought the two of them to the teleportation site. "General Yi, it's already late at night. The emperor's bell rings. You are not allowed to enter." The man standing guard at the door reminded. Although the emperor was dead, he still had his duties. Yi Yuanqing said in a low voice, "I'm in a hurry. Please make an exception." "General Yi, I'm sorry, I can't make an exception." "Out of the way." Yi Yuanqing shouted coldly. If it wasn't for their appearance and strength just now, he couldn't believe that they would be so abnormal and outrageous. These guards are no match for them at all. It's for their own good to let them go now. But this kind of good, the guard obviously didn't hear. Loyal duty. "General Yi. Please go back." "You." Qing Su, who was standing behind, said in a low voice, "General Yi, why don't you let me do it?" "No, I can handle it," Yi Yuanqing said in a hurry. Without saying anything, he knocked the two of them out. Instead of being killed by them, it's better to be knocked out by himself. Opening the two giant doors, Yi Yuanqing took the two of them into the teleportation site. There are all kinds of teleportation devices in sight. Everything here is attracting emotions. I really want to stay here and study these teleportation devices. I don't know if I can go back to the past or the future. It's really worth studying. Qing Su stroked the instrument of the teleportation device as if he had seen his own baby. Yi Yuanqing stood beside him without saying a word. He felt that this fat man was a little weird. He was interested in complicated devices. The emotions he showed were like that of a child. He didn't have the demeanor of an expert at all. "Looks like I can only come back next time." Qing Su seemed to be talking to himself. He was a little stupid. But Yi Yuanqing knew that without a professional setting the target, it would be impossible to teleport out. Qing Su's hands moved quickly. This kind of thing made Yi Yuanqing dumbfounded. Why does this person know how to use it? Qing Su said lightly, "This thing is very difficult for you, but for me, I can operate it a few times. But it's not very accurate, it's a little troublesome. But it doesn't matter, as long as it's accurate." After saying that, Ching Su stood on the teleportation device. Little Dodo, press the red button and come over. Okay. Do Fusher pressed the red button and moved to Ching Su's side in half a breath's time. The two of them stood in the teleportation device. Yi Yuanqing clenched his fists. At this time, Ching Su suddenly said, "Miss, maybe we will meet again." A smile appeared on Ching Su's plump face, and his eyes disappeared. With a flash of white light, the two of them disappeared from the device. Yi Yuanqing quickly rushed over to check the target. "I don't understand what is going on at all. I have to find a professional to take a look at it." Yi Yuanqing thought of his father. "I have to hurry over and take a look at my father's condition. I'll just leave this matter to other people to deal with." After returning back to Yi family, Yi Yuanqing ran towards his father's room. "How is it?" Yi Yuanqing asked gravely. Yi Chen said in a low voice. "Big sister, it is only a matter of time before father fully recovers," but, seeing that everyone's expression was grave, Yi Yuanqing couldn't help but become worried. "But what?" "But, father's cultivation is gone." Yi Liangkai let out a deep sigh. Yi Yuanqing was evidently unable to accept this. How is this possible? How is it possible that father's cultivation is gone? "Big sister, I heard from Lord Qian that father's whirlwind was destroyed by that sword, and in the future, father won't even be able to gather his whirlwind." Yi Yuanqing's expression was very bad. These two people. When the time comes, I must definitely catch them. To actually harm my father. If not for my father, I would have already died. I, Yi Yuanqing, will remember this. Yi Chen, take good care of father. I will go and deal with the matters outside. End of this chapter. Chapter 1203. Okay, sister, don't worry. We'll take care of father. Yi Liangkai encouraged her. Be strong. Don't be defeated by demons. Yi Yuanqing was naturally at ease. He was about to go to the teleportation site to take a look when he bumped into Shan Yu outside. "General Yi, what happened? Why did the Emperor bell ring?" "I'll tell you later. Go to the teleportation site now." "Why are we going there?" "I was the one who brought him in." "Ah." Shan Yu was stunned. "You actually brought people into the teleportation site. Do you know what crime that is? You're going to be beheaded, sister. Can you stop messing around? Wouldn't it be better to sit on the throne obediently? It wouldn't do if he insisted on interfering in this matter. When the time comes, Huang Min will definitely make a fuss." Shan Yu's mind was racing. Where should he start investigating? That Huang Min loved to make a fuss. He could even turn black into white. When they arrived at the teleportation site, the royal carriage was parked outside. Shan Yu said in a low voice, "I didn't expect this guy to come. He must be using this matter to bring you down. General Yi, you have to be careful." Compared to the throne, Yi Yuanqing wanted to know where the two of them had gone. Yi Yuanqing and Shan Yu hurriedly walked into the teleportation site. As soon as they entered, they saw Huang Min, who was dressed in the clothes of a prince. He was tall and handsome, and he had the demeanor of an emperor. Actually, Yi Yuanqing and Shan Yu didn't have much of an impression of Huang Min. This was because most of the time, Huang Min wasn't in the palace. He traveled around the god's realm and learned a lot. However, ever since he returned, the people of the royal family started to unite. They even supported Huang Min to ascend to the throne. This was unexpected. "General Yi, you're here." Huang Min turned around and looked at Yi Yuanqing, revealing a gentle smile. He even cupped his hands and bowed to a junior. This attitude was even more unfathomable. "Your Highness the Fifth Prince." Of course, Yi Yuanqing had to address him respectfully. After all, they hadn't fallen out yet. Huang Min nodded. The two of them seemed to be very good friends. Shan Yu stood at the side and didn't say anything. General Yi, I heard that you brought 2 people in and injured the guards. Is this true? Huang Min asked in a low voice. His tone was calm, as if he didn't blame him. Yes. Why? Save their lives, Yi Yuanqing said solemnly. Huang Min didn't say anything. He had also heard about what happened last night. The other party only had 2 people, even though it was just 2 people. However, many supremacies had died. They could not stop their attacks at all. The most important problem was that no one from the royal family was present at that time. This was negative news for the royal family. The fact that no one dared to go to the royal family was something that most people couldn't accept. Why didn't anyone from the royal family go? They were all so scared that they didn't dare to go. If they were to go to the royal palace, it would mean that they would be annihilated. Who would dare to go and die? In fact, there were even people from the royal family who were prepared to run away. It was fortunate that no one saw such a scandal, or else the royal family would lose all face. Huang Min didn't say anything for the time being. He hadn't thought things through yet. At this moment, a man walked over and shouted respectfully, "Fifth Prince, General Yi, the dimension they went to was not recorded." After hearing that, Yi Yuanqing's eyebrows wrinkled. Planes that are not recorded, this was probably not as simple as it looked. I'll go and take a look. Yi Yuanqing said solemnly. Hearing that, Huang Min was delighted. Planes that were not recorded normally wouldn't be able to come back after going to them. I, the prince, would rather you go and not come back. General Yi. Shan Yu hurriedly shouted out. What is this woman going to do? Aren't we fighting over the throne right now? If you were to go, wouldn't you be handing over the throne with both hands? Huang Min scolded Shan Yu in his heart. Shan Yu, you idiot, what did I ask you to say? Shan Yu brought Yi Yuanqing to one side and said softly, General Yi, you are fighting over the throne right now. If you were to leave just like this, the throne would definitely be gone. Think thrice. After hearing that, Yi Yuanqing came to a realization. If I were to leave right now, I indeed wouldn't even be able to get the throne. General Yi, to put it bluntly, even if you manage to catch up to them, there is nothing you can do. Therefore, General Yi, you still have to look at the big picture. Yi Yuanqing took in a deep breath. That's right, even if I manage to catch up to them, what can I do? There is nothing I can do. Yi Yuanqing was very disappointed. Those 2 ran away from me, so I have to catch them myself. However, there is nothing I can do right now. Yi Yuanqing nodded his head, what you said is right. Shan Yu let out a breath of relief. This crazy woman didn't lose her rationality, this is truly fortunate. Seeing that Yi Yuanqing didn't have any reaction, Huang Min who was at the side deeply wrinkled his brows. If this Shan Yu wasn't here, adding on my instigation, would definitely have gotten hot-headed and chased after those 2, and then I would have died. At this moment, Shan Junren hurriedly rushed over and shouted out respectfully, General Yi, 5th Prince. From the way he addressed Yi Yuanqing, it could be seen that Yi Yuanqing was the one who came first. Prime Minister Shan. With a smile on his face, Huang Min cupped his hands. This rotten old man, when the time comes, I will kill you and your father. Those who stand against me, I will kill all of them. Not a single one will be spared. What exactly is going on? Shan Junren asked confusedly. Yi Yuanqing told everyone about what happened at the entrance of the city, and after everyone heard it, they were all extremely shocked. Such terrifying 2 actually appeared, where did they come from? And then, they made such a huge commotion just to teleport out of the city. Furthermore, it is a plane that is not recorded in the records. Shan Junren was a bit unable to understand. Could it be that there is a treasure in that plane? Everyone, go back and rest. We will discuss this during the morning court session tomorrow. Huang Min was just like an emperor, giving out orders. This made the people from Yi family's faction very unhappy. You are not the emperor yet, and you are already putting on the airs of an emperor. You are truly shameless. Although Huang Min isn't the emperor, he is still a member of the royal family, and everyone didn't dare to say anything. After all, we don't know what the royal family's foundation is, and it is still very troublesome to deal with them. Let's go. Yi Yuanqing said lightly, then took the lead to leave the scene and go back to take a look at his father. Shan Yu didn't follow Yi Yuanqing. He came to his father's side and said in a low voice, "Father, what happened tonight should be beneficial to us." Not necessarily. This teleportation site has to be protected with one's life. Although General Yi is taking everyone's life into consideration, in the end, he still brought the two of them in. If Huang Min holds on to this point and doesn't let go, we will also be in a very passive position. Shan Junren said in a low voice. His expression became slightly solemn. He looked at Huang Min, who was currently communicating with the others, and it was possible that he was also giving suggestions. Shan Yu said in a low voice, "In any case, General Yi saved the lives of the other supreme beings. Those supreme beings won't just sit and watch, right?" End of this chapter. Chapter 1204. Shan Yu, those people aren't easy to talk to. They won't just let this matter slide. After all, they are people who protect the royal family. Even if General Yi saved their lives, they won't stand on General Ye's side. The best outcome now is to remain neutral. That would be giving him a lot of face, Shan Junren said in a low voice. He knew these supreme martial artists very well. They definitely wouldn't do anything that didn't benefit them. Shan Yu fell silent after hearing this. It seemed like there would be a tough battle tomorrow. Suddenly, Shan Yu saw Huang Min walking towards him. The father and son were a little surprised. "Prime Minister Shan. Fifth Prince. Can I have a word with you?" Huang Min smiled. Shan Junren smiled and nodded. The two of them walked to the side. At this moment, Huang Min went straight to the point. "Prime Minister Shan, when my father was still alive, he said that you are an old and trustworthy subject. I don't deserve the trust of the emperor." Shan Junren's words were very formal. He was obviously a wily old fox. Huang Min didn't mind. He smiled and said, "Prime Minister Shan, I'll be straightforward. I hope that you can assist me like how you assisted my father. I will definitely let bygones be bygones. Fifth Prince, I will naturally assist the new emperor without hesitation." Huang Min was stunned for a moment. He revealed a deathly smile, then patted Shan Junren's shoulder and left. Shan Junren knew that this was the last chance that Huang Min was giving him. However, people who did great things. One had to be brave enough to take risks. If he sided with Huang Min today, it would still be the same in the future. What Huang Min said just now could even be said to be an insult. It was as if he was saying, "Old man, you're done for. Kneel down and lick my boots now, and you still have a chance to live. Otherwise, I'll make sure your entire family dies." Shan Junren had been through a lot, so how could he be scared so easily? In Shan Junren's heart, his backer was Lord Yi. That was the real decision-maker. After returning home, Yi Yuanqing went to see his father again. He saw Yi Shan lying on the bed. His chest was wrapped in white gauze. Supreme martial artists were so strong. Even if their chests were pierced, they could still survive. Looking at his father's aged face, Yi Yuanqing furrowed his brows. He would remember this grudge. "Sis, go and rest. We still have a tough battle to fight tomorrow." "Rest well," Yi Chen said softly. He had a tired expression on his face. Right now, Father who had lost his strength had become an ordinary person. Without the support of strength, Father's aging was currently accelerating. In the future, Father will be an ordinary person. With his cyclone destroyed, Father will no longer be able to gather chi, and Father will become an ordinary person in the future. Even if they had all kinds of spiritual medicines to protect them, they would only be able to prolong their lifespans. They would not be like Supremes, who had an infinitely long lifespan. Even if he had all kinds of medicine, it would only prolong his life. Yi Chen's face tightened as he said softly, "Elder sister, if you really can't do it, just call Big Brother back. This is Big Brother's test for me. The outcome hasn't been decided yet. If I hand Big Brother over, wouldn't I be letting him down?" It wasn't that Yi Yuanqing didn't think of calling out, but he stopped every time. If he really did call out, it would be a situation that he couldn't solve. Yi Chen didn't say anything. Since young, sister had wanted to surpass Big Brother. She saw Big Brother as her idol. She naturally didn't want Big Brother to be disappointed. "All right, sister. You should go and rest. It's getting late. The sun will rise in a few hours." Yi Yuanqing let out a breath. "Take care of Father. And sister, it's up to you now." Right now, the lives of the whole family were on Yi Yuanqing's shoulders. He felt that it was very heavy. However, Yi Yuanqing thought to himself, "This is probably the experience that Big Brother gave me." The morning of Lingdu was always bright and beautiful. But today, the atmosphere was a bit heavy. Perhaps it was because of what happened last night and today's ruling. It made everyone feel gloomy. Although it was still early for morning court, the residents were already in a parade mode. Of course. One side supported Yi Yuanqing, and the other side supported Huang Min after receiving benefits. The two voices almost shook the entire Lingdu. From this, it could be seen how much importance everyone attached to this election. In Yi family, everyone came to send Yi Yuanqing off to the morning court. Yi Yuanqing was still wearing a velvet armor. After all, she was still a general. She was the woman who was appointed as the great general by Huang Feidi, the leader of all the generals. "Big sister, you can do it," Yi Zhe shouted. Yi Yuanqing waved his hand towards his brothers and revealed a smile on his face. However, after he returned to the carriage, the smile on his face disappeared. "General Yi. We support you. General Yi, you can do it. Big Sister Yi, you can do it. I want to be a girl like Big Sister Yi in the future as well." Listening to the cheering voices on the streets, Yi Yuanqing felt as if he had been injected with new strength, filling him with fighting spirit. "Today, if they don't die, then I will lose. After that, I will lower my head and look for Big Brother. That would be so embarrassing." Along the way, the residents on both sides were very passionate. These were all his supporters, and this also filled Yi Yuanqing with strength. After arriving at the entrance of the palace, Yi Yuanqing was still shocked by this scene. There was a sea of people, and everyone was holding up signboards and cheering for the person they liked. However, Yi Yuanqing still heard voices slandering him. They were very vicious, but Yi Yuanqing knew that these were all people hired by Huang Min. Yi Yuanqing chose to block them off and got off the carriage outside the palace. "General Yi. All of you, rise." Yi Yuanqing was now a little like a queen. Every action of hers had a different kind of pressure. "Thank you, General Yi." Yi Yuanqing slowly walked into the palace. Not long later, he met Shan Junren and Qian Yi. "General Yi, you are here." "Greetings, Prime Minister Shan, Lord Qian." Yi Yuanqing scoffed politely. "You are treating me like an outsider, you are treating me like an outsider. We are family." Shan Junren revealed a weird smile as if he was saying that his son was going to marry you and be your male pet. You should take care of him in the future. However, Yi Yuanqing didn't think so much. General Yi, you don't need to say anything today, and you don't need to do anything. Just leave everything to us. Prime Minister Shan said respectfully. Okay. Yi Yuanqing said softly. Shan Yu came late. He looked at Yi Yuanqing, and his expression wasn't good. He thought to himself that it should be because of his father. This was unavoidable. Life still had to go on. Everyone walked into the hall. The throne had been empty for a few days, and no one had sat on it. However, today, they would know who would be able to sit on that supreme position. The entire God's Realm Emperor. This gimmick was attractive enough. How could the people of the royal family give it up? It was a pity that all the outstanding ones had died. The remaining ones were all fake and inferior products. If not for Huang Min knowing how to use people's hearts, he would probably have died. End of this chapter. Chapter 1205. Yi Yuanqing stood at the very front of the military officers, while Shan Junren stood at the very front of the civil officers. At the side stood a few princes, and they were all led by Huang Min, who came to cheer for Yi Yuanqing. The eunuch stood in front of the throne and shouted weakly, "Today is the last day of the ruling, the new emperor will be chosen to lead us." Is there even a need to say it? It will definitely be the fifth prince, Huang Min. Before the eunuch finished speaking, one of them started shouting. That's right, the fifth prince is part of the royal family, it is only right for him to inherit the throne. The fifth prince was also doted on by the late emperor back then. If the late emperor knew about this, he would definitely pass the throne to the fifth prince. That's right, it is only right for the fifth prince to inherit the throne. When did an outsider become the emperor, and a woman at that? Huang Min didn't say anything and listened quietly, appearing very calm. However, the palace immediately became like a market. All of them were targeting Yi Yuanqing, and it was even more intense than the previous few times. Everyone, please quiet down. If the late emperor was still here, he wouldn't want to hear such a ruckus. The eunuch shouted. Everyone seemed to give this eunuch some face, and the voices gradually died down. At this moment, Shan Yu stood out and said, "Every generation of emperors must have the strength of a supreme being, must have military merits, and must have a noble character. To dare to be the fifth prince, how many of these three do you need?" Shan Yu's words had never been spoken in the past few times. Some important questions had to be used in important occasions, such as now. After all, this was the last time, and he had to bring out his trump card. Following Shan Yu's words, everyone seemed to be speechless, because what Shan Yu said was right. If not, why would Huang Yun and Huang Li go to get military merits? It was all for the sake of preparing for the throne. If not, when the time comes, someone would find an excuse to say that without military merits, one doesn't have the right to inherit the throne. Therefore, among the three, military merits were actually the most important. The first was very hard to obtain, the second. There was no war, I need to wait, Shan Yu continued, General Yi. You have long reached the strength of a supreme being. Not long ago, you even made great contributions. Last night, you were bestowed the title of Great General by the late Emperor. For the safety of all the people in the city, he led the intruder alone and avoided a disaster. Isn't that virtuous? What we need is a real emperor, not someone who only knows how to talk. Shan Yu was getting more and more excited as he spoke. At the end, he even mocked him and became a little smug. Hearing his son's words, Shan Junren smiled bitterly in his heart. But this was fine too. Since he had already offended him, it was the same to offend him again. At this time, Huang Min said softly, Lord Shan, speaking of what happened last night, General Yi still has to take full responsibility. Yi Yuanqing turned to look at Huang Min and asked, "Fifth Prince, what responsibility do I have to bear?" "General Yi, you know of the rules of the teleportation formation," Yi said. "General, I said you know the rules of the formation." He had violated the ancestors' great taboo. What right does he have to sit on the throne? Everyone found that Huang Min was also very eloquent. She immediately caught General Ye's Achilles' heel, making her unable to fight back. Regarding what happened last night, the father and son discussed for a long time. They felt that it was very troublesome, and they were unable to prove their innocence. Shan Junren said softly, "Fifth Prince, last night, all of the supreme beings were present. The other party's strength is not something we can compare with. If General Yi did not agree, then all the sovereigns would die, including the entire spirit capital. If not for General Ye's intelligence, we wouldn't be standing here right now. Also, one of the two people knew how to activate the teleportation formation. This also means that they can leave without us. Without us, they can leave. General Ye's choice is the best. If we are stubborn, we will only ruin the spirit capital. What we need is an emperor with brains and responsibility." Shan Junren's words had already cleared Yi Yuanqing's name to a large extent. Shan Junren turned his head and looked at Huang Min, then asked faintly, "Fifth Prince, may I ask, after such a big thing happened last night, why is it that not a single member of the royal family is seen? I even heard that all of them are preparing to pack up and leave." Shan Yu really admired his father. Is this the legendary triple kill? The royal family's faction was completely speechless. Hearing that, Huang Min remained calm and turned his head to look at Shan Junren. "Prime Minister, why are you supporting an outsider? If father knew about this, I'm afraid that he would not forgive you." "Fifth Prince, I support a wise emperor. This has nothing to do with my family name. If the late emperor was still alive, he would definitely be happy with my choice." Hearing his father's words, Shan Yu almost laughed out. If the late emperor knew about this, he would definitely be so angry that he would jump out of his coffin. The royal family had declined in this generation, mainly because Yi Hua got rid of Huang Li and Huang Yun. If one of them was still alive, then Yi Yuanqing would have nothing to do with it. Yi Hua seemed to have already planned to clear the path for his sister. At this moment, Yi Hua wanted to say, "You guessed it right, seems like I didn't hide it well enough." Huang Min's expression still did not change. This caused Shan Junren, who was at the side, to feel very puzzled. Could it be that he still has some trump card? Seeing that his father did not speak, Shan Yu stood out and said, "General Yi is both brave and intelligent. He has the ability to sit on the throne, to lead the entire God's realm." Right at this moment, Yi family's faction started adding fuel to the fire. On the other hand, the royal family's faction that was extremely explosive at the start was now completely silent. Each and every one of them was flushed red. There was completely no point to refute, because Huang Min really, other than the title of the royal family, he really did not have anything. He did not even have the three most basic requirements. Right at this moment, Huang Min asked faintly, "Prime Minister Shan, what you mean is that the royal family cannot inherit the throne right now?" Shan Junren wrinkled his brows and said lightly, "If there is someone in the royal family who fulfills the three requirements, I will naturally support that person, but for the eldest prince and the ninth prince, seems like Prime Minister Shan has forgotten a principle." Huang Min said faintly. Shan Junren went into a daze, then asked curiously, "Fifth Prince, please enlighten me. Do you know what is the royal family's inheritance?" Huang Min asked faintly. Shan Junren immediately had a bad premonition. The royal family's inheritance, the previous emperors were all chosen by the royal family, but in the past, the emperors had always been chosen, only this time was an accident. But in the end, those people were all the royal family's own people, there had never been outsiders. Those three requirements were also slowly evolved, and in the end, they became accustomed. However, it seems like the royal family has the final say on those 3 requirements. I am just taking advantage of a loophole. However, now that things have come to this, I can't just casually lower my head. The royal family's inheritance is also something that only those who are capable can inherit. Shan Junren said gravely. Hearing that, Huang Min laughed lightly. This is a type of ridicule, laughing at you for not knowing anything. End of this chapter. Chapter 1206. Since it's the royal family's inheritance, it's only natural for the royal family to produce their descendants. These words were not spoken by Huang Min, but came from outside. 2 men slowly walked in. When the crowd saw the appearance of the 2 men, their pupils shrank. Especially Shan Junren, one of them had seen him before, and the other had seen him in a portrait. This old subject kowtows in salute to the Supreme Emperor. Retired Emperor. Shan Junren had lived through 2 dynasties, and of course, he had seen Huang Feidi's father. However, in the end, Huang Feidi's father disappeared, and no one knew where Huang Feidi's father went to. To be more precise, as long as the emperor abdicated, he would eventually disappear. But now there were actually 2 of them. Huang Feidi's father and grandfather. This gave Shan Junren a fright. No wonder Huang Min looked so confident. It turned out that he had found them to back him up. Things had become difficult. Shan Yu was also shocked. Ever since he was born, the emperor had always been Huang Feidi. He had never seen these 2 before. But as his father shouted, Shan Yu's gaze became flustered. To be precise, the entire Yi family was in a panic. The royal family, who had been dispirited just a moment ago, looked as if they had seen their savior. They wanted to crawl over and lick his shoes to express their excitement. This subject kowtows in salute to the Supreme Emperor. Retired Emperor. Everyone knelt on the ground and shouted. Yi Yuanqing was no longer calm. He had not expected something like this to happen. It was no wonder that Huang Min could instantly unify the members. It turned out that they were supporting him from behind. This made sense. Shan Junren, we haven't seen each other for 10,000 years. I didn't expect that you would help Huang Feidi to ascend to the throne, and now you are helping someone other than the royal family to ascend to the throne. Your courage is commendable. Retired Emperor Dong Huang said in a deep voice. The Supreme Emperor Dong Huang Mausoleum didn't say anything and looked coldly at Yi Yuanqing. This woman also wants to be the emperor. Do you think there's no one in the East royal family? Shan Junren hurriedly explained, Retired Emperor, His Majesty suddenly passed away. This old subject is just following the usual rules. Rules? Shan Junren. You still haven't figured it out. The royal family is the rule. Hearing this, Shan Junren's face turned pale. If these words came out of Huang Min's mouth, they wouldn't have such an imposing aura. However, when it came from the retired emperor's mouth, it carried a terrifying murderous aura. At this moment, Shan Yu's face also became pale. I'm finished. I'm finished today. If those 2 people didn't come, the throne would definitely be Yi Yuanqing's. But since those 2 people came, then the throne, not only that. I still have to give up my life. This is the price I have to pay. If it's not death, then it's glory, splendor, wealth and rank. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. However, this was clearly the worst-case scenario. Father, please sit. Dong Huang Yu respectfully called out. The Dong Huang Mausoleum slowly walked up the steps and sat on the throne. No one dared to say a word. Dong Huang Yu was standing right beside him. When this seat was occupied, no one dared to act rashly. Yi Yuanqing didn't know what to say. One was the retired emperor, and the other was the Supreme Emperor. They were all previous emperors. Weren't they the ones who had the final say in the selection of the emperor? Donghuang Mausoleum touched the dragon throne and murmured, "It's still the same feeling. It hasn't changed at all." No one dared to breathe loudly. "I heard that my grandson died in front of the stage. Is this the right position?" Donghuang Mausoleum pointed to a corner and asked faintly. The eunuch at the side had a happy expression on his face. He finally saw the retired emperor again, and he looked exactly the same as before. "Supreme Emperor, His Majesty died here without any aura. He was brutally murdered," the eunuch said while choking with sobs. From time to time, he would wipe his tears with his sleeves. Donghuang Mausoleum's face gradually became gloomy, and he said in a deep voice, "In this hall, an emperor had actually been murdered. But you don't know. His head was cut off so cruelly." Who is it?" Huang Min took a step forward and said respectfully, "Supreme Emperor, the biggest suspect now is the Yi family. Because the Yi family wanted to usurp the throne. If their father didn't die, what reason did they have? Big brother and ninth brother also died in the conspiracy, and soon after, father emperor also died. They just used 3 conditions to choose the emperor. Are they bullying our imperial family because there is no one capable?" Yi Yuanqing stood there without saying anything because the emperor had indeed been killed by his eldest brother. Yi Yuanqing did not seem to intend to deny what he had done. "Sure. The spiritual capital doesn't seem to be afraid of the imperial family anymore. We can kill anyone from the royal family if we want to. If he wanted to usurp the throne, he would usurp it. How dare they?" When the Supreme Emperor displayed his might, it was rather ferocious. A terrifying aura immediately swept through the area. Everyone was completely unable to resist and was pressed onto the ground. Even Yi Yuanqing was no exception. However, Yi Yuanqing sensed that the Supreme Emperor's strength was above Supreme Being. "I'm afraid that the Supreme Emperor is the same as well. Shan Junren, do you know your crime?" The Supreme Emperor, Donghuang Yu asked coldly. Shan Junren hurriedly kowtowed. "Right now, there is no way to save the situation unless Prince Yi comes over." However, will Prince Yi come over? Even Yi Yuanqing didn't know the answer to this question. It was very difficult to send sound transmissions between different planes, and furthermore, a barrier had already been set up here. From the looks of it, these 2 people are going to join in the rebellion, and they are going to stun the people who are going to rebel against the imperial family. "Supreme Emperor, this old subject knows his crime," Shan Junren said gravely. "Drag him out and behead him." Donghuang Yu gave the order without any hesitation. As an emperor, one must have a heart that is decisive in killing. Shan Junren knew that he was definitely going to die. "Supreme Emperor, please spare my life. I am willing to take the punishment on behalf of my father." Shan Yu immediately knelt onto the ground and begged. The imperial family revealed an expression that was rejoicing in Shan Yu's misfortune. "Weren't you very formidable just now?" "Formidable? Why aren't you continuing to be formidable anymore?" "Bastard! Go back!" Shan Junren shouted out coldly. "Father is already old, and you still have many important things to do. Drag them out and behead them." Donghuang Yu shouted out coldly. To actually dare rebel against the imperial family, they are truly tired of living. "Wait!" Yi Yuanqing suddenly shouted out. The 2 big shots looked towards Yi Yuanqing, seemingly saying, "I will deal with you later, don't be anxious." Dong Huangling said lightly, "Shan family's crime of usurping the throne, all of them shall be exterminated." Hearing what Dong Huangling said, everyone present sucked in a breath of cold air. Shan family has a lot of branch families, and right now, with just a single sentence from Shan family, all of them will have to die together with Shan family. I was the one who instigated it. Yi Yuanqing said lightly. Dong Huangling could be seen slapping the air. Paw! This slap ruthlessly landed onto Yi Yuanqing's face, and Yi Yuanqing fell onto the ground. A great general was slapped onto the ground just like that, and no one dared to say anything. Blood was already flowing out from the corner of Yi Yuanqing's mouth. If Yi Shan was here, he would definitely stop his daughter from making a mistake again. Why is her personality exactly the same as your big brother? Paw! Another slap ruthlessly landed onto Yi Yuanqing's face, and Yi Yuanqing's body was sent flying, and Yi Yuanqing fiercely crashed onto the dragon pillar at the side. The entire palace hall shook slightly. Yi Yuanqing slowly landed onto the ground, and there were 2 huge handprints on his face, and all of his pores were smashed into pieces. This is too terrifying. End of this chapter. Chapter 1207. Yi Yuanqing looked as if he had already broken through. Yi Yuanqing slowly landed on the ground, unable to move. These two were supreme beings, he wasn't their match at all. They were just too powerful, just like how he met those 2 from yesterday. Donghuang Mausoleum said faintly, the mastermind of the Yi family, hang all of them at the city gate as a warning to others. Yes. Everyone related to the Yi family. Hang them all. To uphold the prestige of the emperor. The East Emperor Mausoleum exuded a murderous aura. After not returning for so many years, such a thing actually happened. If they didn't know about it, they wouldn't even know that the gods' world had changed their surnames. Supreme Emperor, we are innocent, please spare our lives. Supreme Emperor. Retired Emperor, run for your life. We are all innocent. Huang Min looked at Shan Junren, who was kneeling at the side, and said in a low voice, Prime Minister, I gave you a chance yesterday, but what a pity. Did you think that Lord Yi would appear? You are thinking too much. Right now, Shan Junren didn't have any confidence anymore, and he looked towards Yi Yuanqing, who had fallen under the dragon pillar. Hurry up and call your big brother over, or we'll all die. Both of them were superior supremes. Yi Yuanqing now knew that it was not so easy to sit on the throne. He thought that if he was benevolent to others, they would all approve of him. But he was wrong. To be kind to some people was to be cruel to himself. Since Big Brother had paved the way for him, he would definitely not let Big Brother down. The throne was theirs. Yi Yuanqing stood up slowly. She seemed to be on the verge of collapsing, but she gritted her teeth and persevered. You can still stand up. Dong Huangyu was surprised. An ordinary supreme martial artist wouldn't even be able to stand after being slapped like that, let alone a woman. However, this woman actually stood up, which was indeed amazing. Yi Yuanqing leaned against the dragon pillar, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. He turned his head to look at the 2 people on the stairs. Originally, I wanted to be harmonious, but I don't want to pretend anymore. I am just a woman who kills enemies. Yi Yuanqing laughed, as if she had gone mad. Everyone had the same feeling. Yi family's second son has gone crazy. This might not be madness, but he was laughing at his own childishness. On Yi Yuanqing's right hand, a small bell condensed out. Big Brother said that when I have difficulties, ring the bell, there will be a surprise. I don't know what kind of surprise Big Brother has prepared for me. Don't tease your little sister, or else Big Brother won't be able to see your little sister. When the Donghuang Mausoleum and the Donghuang sect saw Yi Yuanqing take out a copper bell, their gazes froze. A bad premonition appeared. Take her down. Donghuang Mausoleum shouted. However, ring ring ring, a clear and melodious voice rang out in the main hall, captivating everyone's hearts. Everyone's scalp went numb at this moment. This ringtone was like a ghost, reverberating in everyone's mind. Creak. A crack appeared on the bell on Yi Yuanqing's right hand, and soon after, the bell shattered. What? Yi Yuanqing really wanted to cry. Big brother, this surprise of yours is too horrifying. Donghuang Mausoleum and Donghuang Yu heaved a sigh of relief. They were frightened just now. Thinking back, he was actually frightened by a woman. It was simply unbearable. This damned woman actually scared him. Unforgivable. Cut her into 8 pieces for me. I want her blood to flow all over the ground. Dong Wangyu shouted angrily, feeling that his dignity was trampled on by this woman. However, when Dong Wangyu finished shouting, a strange cold wind condensed in the palace. In the god's realm, there was no such cold wind. The 4 seasons of the year were like spring, the wind was gentle and the sun was beautiful. But what did this cold wind mean? Everyone couldn't help but shiver. Suddenly, in front of Yi Yuanqing, the ground seemed to be sinking. However, this was an illusion, this was not sinking. This was a cave that looked like red magma. The middle was like magma, and the sides were like black whirlpools that were spinning. A fierce aura instantly filled the entire palace. Puff! A hand suddenly extended out from the magma and grabbed onto the ground. With just a light grab, it caused the entire palace to shake. This was already beyond the interest of ordinary people. The hand suddenly emitted flames and burned. The temperature of the scene rose rapidly. When the human-shaped flame completely appeared, that was why everyone's eyeballs were about to fall out. Who is this flaming man? Yi Yuanqing looked at the flaming man in front of him, completely confused. This is the surprise that Big Brother gave me. Is this a fire stick? Donghuang Yu and Donghuang Mausoleum could feel the strength of this flaming man, and their gazes became cold. Is that Bella's summoning item? Indeed. Azura Purgatory, Wuming greets Master. Wuming knelt down to show his loyalty. When Shan Junren saw this scene, he finally heaved a sigh of relief, while the imperial family became restless. If it was over just like this, that wouldn't be Yi Hua's style. If he said that he gave her a surprise, then it was definitely a surprise. This was the biggest guarantee that Yi Hua gave his sister. Even if he wasn't by her side, he would be able to protect her the entire time. Right at this moment, everyone felt a terrifying pressure coming from above their heads. This pressure made even Donghuang Mausoleum and Donghuang Yu reveal a look of astonishment. However, in Spirit Capital City, everyone could see that there was a huge whirlpool condensing in the sky above the palace. Thunder and lightning were rumbling inside, and it was deafening. Everyone looked at the strange clouds with shock and fear in their eyes, because this was something that had never happened before. No one knew what was happening inside. However, they could guess that something must have happened inside. The people who were standing outside were even more restless, and they wished that they could rush inside and take a look at what was happening. A streak of silver light descended from the clouds, whistling through the air. However, in the palace's main hall, everyone was being pressured to the point that they couldn't breathe. Only Yi Yuanqing was fine, but he was still able to feel the pressure. Big Brother, this surprise of his, is really too awesome. Big Brother is awesome. Give a like to Big Brother. A silver long sword could be seen piercing through the roof and landing at the center of the main hall. Looking at the silver long sword, everyone's expression became grave. The silver long sword seemed to be a two-handed sword, and silver patterns were flickering on the body of the sword. Why is there only one sword? What is the meaning of this? Just as everyone was puzzled, a black figure slowly landed on the ground and directly stepped onto the hilt of the sword. This person had a head full of long black hair, and he wore a black windbreaker that fluttered along with the wind. I am Sword God, young Master Chongqing, and I am willing to serve Master. Chongqing placed his hand on his chest to show his loyalty. Yi Yuanqing was currently in a stupefied state. This kind of surprise is truly unbearable. Right now, Shan Junren could finally let out a breath of relief. Originally, General Yi still had a trump card, just that he didn't reveal it. This is truly worrying. I nearly thought that I was going to die. End of this chapter. Chapter 1208. However, everyone was waiting. Is there still more? Father, we can't stay here for long. Dong Wangyu said in a low voice. The two people in front of me don't seem to be my match. Dong Wangyu waited for a while, then called out again, Father. There was still no response from his father. Furthermore, everyone below had a face full of shock, as if they had seen a ghost. Dong Wangyu couldn't help but turn his head around to take a look. A man who was dressed sloppily could be seen. This sloppiness was indeed a bit sloppily, with a few leaves covering his private parts, and in his hand was a rusty long blade. However, this black iron long blade was stained with blood, and the blood stained with blood was all of his father's blood. Furthermore, his father's head was really in his hand. Furthermore, his father's eyeballs could still move. My name is King Yu, my nickname is God of Slaughter. Master. Are you satisfied with this gift? King Yu grinned, revealing his white teeth, which formed a sharp contrast with his skin. However, compared to the head in his hand, that head was nothing. That head was the head of the Supreme Emperor. It was actually grabbed by the Supreme Emperor just like that. Everyone just saw a shadow appear, then cut off the Supreme Emperor's head. The shadow's movements were as smooth as flowing water, and with a single look, one could tell that the shadow was an expert in this field. No, this is simply terrifying. The shadow was able to deal with the Supreme Emperor so easily, and this Supreme Emperor, wouldn't it be even easier to deal with him? Right now, Yi Yuanqing had a blank expression on his face. He was killed just like that. Just now, this Supreme Emperor slapped me twice, and he was killed just like that. This is simply letting him off too easily. However, this Supreme Emperor's blood had already stained the throne. This proved that this was indeed a throne that was stained with blood. Right now, Huang Min was also unable to remain calm. The trump card of the Supreme Emperor is even more terrifying than mine. I originally thought that the trump card of the Supreme Emperor would at most be Lord Yi. However, the Supreme Emperor didn't even appear, and then the Supreme Emperor's head exploded. The appearance of the three strange people simply changed the situation instantly. Right now, King Yu was a bit embarrassed. He was holding onto the Supreme Emperor's head, and his crotch was only covered by a few leaves. If a gust of wind were to blow, he would definitely be exposed. Furthermore, this master seems to be dissatisfied with what I did. He still hasn't said anything. Could it be that he is blaming me for taking action on my own? That wouldn't do. After all, it was the first time they met, and he didn't bring any gifts. Now he made a mistake again. King Yu looked to the left and to the right, and soon after, he pressed the Supreme Emperor's head back into the hole. Soon after, he discovered that, it seemed that the head wasn't stable at all. Having no other choice, I can only take out the needle, and sew it up. However, the group of people below just watched, completely unable to understand what he was doing. Was he humiliating the corpse? Looking at how coquettishly this person was dressed, who would have thought that he would have such a fetish? It made one's scalp go numb. Yi Yuanqing didn't know what he was doing. Didn't he just cut off someone's head? Now, he was sewing it back. What was he trying to express? King Yu heaved a sigh of relief and said respectfully, Master, I've been too presumptuous and killed people without your permission. Now I'm fine. Everyone's jaws dropped to the ground. Everything was fine now. What do you mean it's fine? You've already reattached your head. Does that mean the others are still alive? You're killing someone, yet you're still trampling on their dignity. It's simply infuriating and makes my scalp go numb. However, Dong Wangyu didn't dare to do anything, because he was being stared at by the two people below him. It seemed that if he were to make a single move, his blood would definitely splatter all over the place. This woman ringing the bell had actually summoned such a character. This was simply unimaginable. If not for these three people. Himself. I must humiliate her 100 times and torture her for 10,000 years. Death was a luxury for her. But now, that was just daydreaming. If he could escape, that would be a luxury. Her father had died just like that. He couldn't believe it. Yi Yuanqing. What are you doing? How dare you kill the emperor? Huang Min roared at Yi Yuanqing furiously as he accused Yi Yuanqing. However, Huang Min was mistaken about one thing. Once a person abandoned pity, they would never give in to him again. Therefore, you have disrespected the master. The wind of death will accompany you. Nameless said slowly. He had already given Huang Min the death penalty. Green smoke could be seen coming out from the bottom of Huang Min's pants, and soon after, the pants immediately caught on fire. At first, Huang Min didn't notice it. He only realized it after someone reminded him, and he immediately slapped him. However, the fire grew bigger and bigger until it burned his entire body. Ah! The raging fire crazily burned Huang Min's soul. This kind of pain was much more comfortable than his physical body. Huang Min fell onto the ground and rolled on the ground. Everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. This General Yi seems to have fallen into the path of a demon, causing everyone to tremble in fear. Yi Yuanqing didn't stop Huang Min just now, because sometimes, only by killing can one intimidate others. Just like what I said before, I originally wanted to coexist peacefully with you all, but if that doesn't work, then forget about it. Soon. Huang Min stopped moving and laid on the ground like a corpse. The fire was taken away by Nameless. However, Huang Min didn't turn into charcoal, and he still looked the same as before. It was just that his soul had already been destroyed, and he probably wouldn't even have the chance to reincarnate. You are called Yi Yuanqing. Someone from Yi family. Dong Wangyu asked gravely, fighting for the last chance to escape. Yi Yuanqing endured the pain and looked at Dong Wangyu. Now that the situation has come to this, what's the point of you asking me who I am? Humph, you're right. Then, do you know who I am? You. You are the retired emperor. You all can call me the retired emperor, but I am no longer called Huang Yu. I am called Dong Wangyu. My family name is Dong Huang. I am famous in the 9 provinces and 5 seas. Today, you have killed someone from my East royal family. We will not let this matter rest. Family name Dong Huang. When everyone heard this, they were all shocked. It turns out that the family name Dong Huang is the family name of the East royal family. They had long gone to other worlds to develop, and now, they finally understood why. Then, all the more reason why I can't let you leave. Yi Yuanqing said faintly. Dong Wangyu, you didn't even listen to a single word I said just now. I am someone from the East royal family. I am an existence that your Yi family cannot afford to offend. Killing you all is as easy as breathing. If you all don't let me leave, you all might die with an intact corpse. Yi Yuanqing. If you are sensible, then let me leave. Yi Yuanqing smiled, and his smile was very beautiful. If I let you leave, I will let you run 39 meters first. Yi Yuanqing suddenly said. This caused Dong Wangyu to feel happy. As long as I can run out of here, I will be able to go back. At that time, all of you will have to die. Die, 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 die. Dong Wangyu, who was on the stage, instantly disappeared. Sword Body young Master Evergreen knew that his master wanted to see how strong he was. Thus, sword-body young Master Evergreen grabbed onto the hilt of the sword, then raised it high into the air. In an instant, the sword condensed into a length of 40 meters. The sword pierced through the roof. End of this chapter. Chapter 1209. Die. Young Master Changqing's eyes revealed an ominous glint, and the sword in his hand slashed down. Despicable. Dong Huangling cursed. Dong Huangling, who was 39 meters away, shouted, but he soon became silent. That sword cut him into two, and even the primordial spirit in his head exploded. That attack was too terrifying. A sword mark was left on the entire palace. Everyone felt that the ground was shaking violently. There was a fight inside. Young Master Changqing kept his sword and stood behind Yi Yuanqing. King Yu and Wu Ming did the same. With such a person standing behind Yi Yuanqing, whoever dares to move even a single hair of his, whoever dares to move, that person will die. Therefore, Dong Huangling didn't dare to move now. He was afraid that his primordial spirit would fly away and die instantly. Supreme Emperor, are you still not coming out? Do you need me to call you? Yi Yuanqing didn't forget the two slaps just now. As a primordial spirit, Dong Huangling didn't know what to do, but he still flew out obediently and turned into a primordial spirit without a physical body. Then, he shut himself up. Yi Yuanqing asked faintly, Supreme Emperor, who do you think is better to sit on this throne? Also, what is the royal inheritance? Young lady, of course the throne is for the capable one. I can see that young lady's face is filled with righteousness, and your strength is extraordinary. You are definitely the best candidate. This throne is something that you should have. Dong Huangling's attitude changed 180 degrees. This is really embarrassing. Under strength, we are all lowly. Yi Yuanqing looked at the others and asked faintly, do you all think what the Supreme Emperor said is true? You are the boss now, don't we still listen to you? Whatever you want us to say, we will say it. Everyone followed suit and said all kinds of good things. Shan Junren originally thought that Yi Yuanqing's big brother would come and settle things, and there was no need for Lord Yi to come. It seemed that Lord Ye's strength was even more valiant. His choice was indeed correct. If he had changed sides last night. If I had changed sides last night, I would probably still be among the corpses. Fortunately, I still believe in Lord Yi. Kill him. Yi Yuanqing said faintly. You. Although Dong Huangling knew that he wouldn't let him go, this was too fast. Therefore, Dong Huangling turned into a small golden ball and ran away desperately. Single character slash. King Yu wielded his black iron saber and slashed out a single character. Upon seeing the blue sky and white clouds, Dong Huang Mausoleum was overjoyed. Soon after, he felt that he had become two halves. Everyone in Spirit Capital saw a streak of light appear in the sky. It was so bright that they could see it clearly even in the day. Inside the palace, no one dared to breathe loudly. The people from the royal family felt like they were about to piss their pants. Would this woman kill them? Carry out a large-scale purge. This was especially true for the members of the royal family. Originally, when they saw the Supreme Emperor and the retired Emperor return, they thought that everything would be fine. In the end, all of them were instantly killed with one sword and one saber. Killing a superior supreme was as easy as killing a chicken. How were mortals supposed to live? Yi Yuanqing slowly walked to the seat in the middle. Eunuch, are you still not going to announce it? The eunuch swallowed his saliva and immediately shouted with his duck-like voice, Yi Yuanqing. Become the Empress of the God's world. Long live the Empress. Hooray! Long live! As the eunuch shouted, everyone else knelt down and shouted, Long live the Empress. Hooray! Long live! This voice broke through the palace, and even the entire spirit capital could hear it. The people who supported Yi Yuanqing immediately cheered, and the entire spirit capital became lively. Although they didn't know what happened inside, the officials all shouted, "Long live the Empress," and that meant everything. Yi family chased the royal family out of the palace. This was the first time in history. How shocking! In the Yi family, Yi Shan had already woken up, and beside him were his sons. Everyone heard it. Yi Shan was completely stupefied, and Yi Qin and the others were the same. Big sister succeeded. Big sister became the empress. Yi Shan smiled. Yuanqing succeeded. I can be at ease now. Inside the palace. Rise. Right now, Yi Yuanqing looked a bit like an empress. Although she was still dressed in military attire, it was unable to conceal her imposing manner. Right now, Yi Yuanqing wished that he could immediately go and find his big brother, then fiercely throw himself into his big brother's embrace and cry. Of course, those were tears of happiness. Yi Yuanqing thanked his big brother for taking care of him. If not for his big brother, he wouldn't have been able to reach this stage. Firstly, treat everything that happened today as if nothing happened. Within 3 days, the royal family will move out of the palace. Also, it is time for this throne to be changed. It is now surnamed Yi. Everyone, disperse. Yi Yuanqing's words were very short, but every single sentence he said was the main point. The faces of the members of the royal family were deathly pale, but in their hearts, they were still rejoicing that they didn't get killed. How fortunate! Empress, how are the matters regarding the succession ceremony being arranged? Shan Junren asked respectfully. You all go ahead and arrange it, I have to leave for a while right now. Yes. Yi Yuanqing naturally had to go and find his big brother and tell him this good news, that he succeeded. However, Yi Yuanqing didn't bring his 3 little brothers away. He placed them in the palace or at home to ensure the safety of his family. After all, there were only 2 people from the Donghuang family who came, and from the looks of it, they looked very weak. If more people came, who knows what the result would be. I have to be careful. Within Wushu Empire, Yi Hua was sitting in the garden. To be precise, he was lying down. If you were to be seen by others like this, your image would be completely gone. Donghuang Baiji said petulantly, then pinched open an orange and sent it to Yi Hua's mouth. Yi Hua chewed on the sweet orange, and then, Tue, there are bones inside, why didn't you squeeze them out? Donghuang Baiji, if another person were to try this kind of man, that person would be able to anger you to the point that you would suffer internal injuries. Yi Hua, I am your wife, not your servant. Donghuang Baiji squeezed out a smile and gave a serious warning. Yi Hua pinched onto Donghuang Baiji's cheeks. What, you are not convinced? Come and hit me then. You bastard, do you think that I don't dare to hit you? See if I don't hammer you to death today. After finished speaking, Donghuang Baiji used her small fists to pound onto Yi Hua's chest. Yi Hua took the opportunity to hug onto Donghuang Baiji, and his hands started getting naughty. Yi Hua. We are outside, don't mess around. Donghuang Baiji immediately held onto Yi Hua. It's fine, no one will come. You. Bastard, you are hurting me. I feel that my chest has swelled up a bit, and it feels a bit better. Scram. Big brother, sister-in-law, what are you 2 doing? Yi Hua and Donghuang Baiji immediately looked to the side. Donghuang Baiji's face turned red, then hurriedly stood up and hammered onto Yi Hua. Yi Hua's face had already reached the pinnacle of shamelessness. I am flirting with your sister-in-law, and it was disrupted by you, you mischievous fellow. Hearing that, Yi Yuanqing's face turned red. Right now, Yi Yuanqing was in the state of a little sister. End of this chapter. Chapter 12:10. Yuan Qing, it seems like you have good news today. Dong Huang Baiji smiled. Big brother, sister-in-law, thank you. Yi Yuanqing bowed and said sincerely. Yi Hua was able to discern what she was thinking and said with a smile, "Are you surprised?" Big brother, you're so annoying, why didn't you tell me earlier? I was almost scared to death. Yi Yuanqing started acting coquettishly. The Empress acting coquettishly had a unique style, just like Dong Huang Baiji. What's wrong with your face? Yi Hua looked at the bloodstain on his little sister's face and couldn't help but ask. Yi Yuanqing smiled, it's nothing, I was beaten up twice, but it's not clean yet. After saying that, Yi Yuanqing even wiped his face twice, just that it was getting dirtier and dirtier. Baiji, go and get a basin of water for Yuanqing to wash up. And after Dong Huang Baiji left, Yi Hua took out a cigarette and lit it. Where's the person who beat you up? Oh, he died. Yi Yuanqing's description was very simple, there wasn't any complicated process. Yi Hua wrinkled his brows and said softly, he must have rung the bell after he was beaten up. Big brother, you won't blame little sister, right? Yi Yuanqing said pitifully. Not only that, I also want to beat you up. Yi Hua pretended to raise his hand. Yi Yuanqing's eyes were closed, but he felt that his head was being patted. Big brother is teasing me again, but I still feel warm in my heart. Yi Hua said helplessly, you are now the emperor, those who you want to kill must be killed, don't keep them and find trouble for yourself. And, big brother, I understand, my way of thinking was still too simple. From this matter, Yi Yuanqing had a deep understanding. When it's time to be bloody, one must be bloody. Yi Hua nodded his head and threw an orange to his little sister. Oh right, big brother, that Dong Huang's surname that you mentioned appeared today, it was that Huang Feidi's father and grandfather. And they appeared. Where are they? They were killed by the person inside the bell. Oh, is that so? I originally wanted to ask about the situation. Yi Hua said faintly. Right now, he still didn't dare to conclude that Dong Huang Baiji was related to that Dong Huang surname. But last night, something big happened. A few Supremes died, and Father's whirlpool was broken by one of them, turning him into an ordinary person. Those two were too powerful. I couldn't resist at all, Yi Yuanqing said solemnly. Now that he thought about it, he could still feel a chill running down his spine. Two people. Who are you? Yi Hua directly ignored this biological father of his. I don't have a good impression of him at all, and reckon that even if I were to die, there wouldn't be much of a commotion. Yi Yuanqing said in a deep voice, one of them looks pretty good, his eyes are dark purple, very strange. The other one is super fat, bald, holding prayer beads in his hand, his speech is also very strange, but he uses his mouth to kill. After hearing that, Yi Hua's expression became grave as he asked, does it mean that whoever you want to kill will die, and there won't be any fluctuation of aura? That's right. How did you know? Yi Hua flicked the ash off his cigarette and laughed lightly. This laughter of his carried a bit of self-mockery. Because that fatty is one of Big Brother's subordinates. The one with dark purple eyes is also one of Big Brother's subordinates. He was kidnapped by that fatty and probably brainwashed. Ah! Yi Yuanqing was astonished. I didn't expect that the two people who appeared yesterday night were actually Big Brother's subordinates. Yi Hua let out a sigh, that fatty is called Qing Su, he has already forgotten his identity now. This person is an expert in using poison, which is why you two were unable to sense any fluctuation of aura. Yi Yuanqing had a stupefied look on his face. I originally wanted to take revenge, but in the end, the other party was actually Big Brother's subordinate. I have been looking for them these few days as well. I didn't expect that they would run to God's realm, where are they now? Yi Hua asked gravely. I am about to capture this Qing Su. Big brother, they came over yesterday night precisely for the teleportation point. They went to an unknown plane, and we do not have any records of that plane. Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette butt. This is a bit troublesome. If they went to another plane, it will be even harder to find them. Furthermore, from what Yi Yuanqing said, Do Fushi seemed to have become stronger, and Qing Su should have modified it a bit. However, Do Fushi has yet to reach the level of being able to travel through planes, thus, he still has to rely on the teleportation point. For the sake of this subordinate, I am also having a headache. Yi Hua rubbed his forehead, feeling that this time, I will have to personally take action. I reckon that Wei Chang is currently in another plane as well. When the time comes, I will have to take care of these two people. At this moment, Donghuang Baizhi walked over with a basin of water and said with a smile, Yuanqing, when are you planning to ascend to the throne? I am already making arrangements, it should be in a few days. Yi Yuanqing smiled gently towards Donghuang Baizhi. Sister-in-law is truly beautiful. Yi Hua, you have to prepare a congratulatory gift then. Of course. Yi Hua nodded his head. Now that his younger sister has become the empress, as her older brother, I have to go and support her. After that, I will go and take care of Qing Su's problem. I will bring Donghuang Baizhi along with me so that I can spend some time with her so that she won't say that I didn't accompany her. Yi Yuanqing washed his face, then took care of everything under Yi Hua's treatment. After all, she is now an empress, and there are still a lot of things that need to be taken care of. Yi Hua, Yuanqing is rather formidable. That's right, becoming an empress at such a young age, just like you, my empress. Yi Hua couldn't help but tease. Can't you speak properly? I can't, I just like to see the empress intoxicated under me. Yi Hua. Don't say that when we are outside. Donghuang Baizhi was furious. Yi Hua is a king of words. Yi Hua naturally knew that. Putting away his joking thoughts, Yi Hua said faintly, Baizhi, after we are done with Yuanqing's coronation ceremony, how about the two of us go out for a walk and relax? Are you that good? Are you going to make a dirty request again? Yi Hua, I'm telling you, hurry up and dispel those terrifying thoughts of yours. Donghuang Baizhi naturally knew what Yi Hua was thinking. Yi Hua only wants to enjoy himself, humph. Yi Hua hooked onto the empress's chin, Baizhi, I like this small mouth of yours. Go and die. After finished speaking, the empress left while panting with rage. Shameless Yi Hua. Yi Hua shook his head. This empress is truly filthy. Did I just kiss her on the lips? What am I thinking about? What an experienced person. However, after hearing the news about Qing Su, Yi Hua was rather happy. He actually went to the god's realm, this is truly not bad. In the past, I, the Supreme Overlord, would always ask my subordinates to deal with Qing Su. This time, I, the Supreme Overlord, will deal with Qing Su by myself. After all, the opponent is a top-notch expert like Qing Su, and I cannot be careless. I still have to be careful when dealing with Qing Su. If other people were to go and get plotted against, the situation would be even worse. Just look at that Lai Gu. This Qing Su is still very strong. However, the necessary arrangements still have to be made. End of this chapter. Chapter 12:11. Therefore, Yi Hua called Zhu Tian over. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. I've waited for so long, why haven't I seen anyone attack? What's going on? In actuality, Yi Hua was very gloomy. These few days, I have been waiting all along, but in the end, there wasn't even a single person, let alone clamoring. Zhu Tian said respectfully, Your Honor, perhaps, those people are afraid of your honor's might, and that's why they are avoiding the battle. Absolute heaven, you've learned how to flatter as well. Everything this subordinate says is true. Then I will gladly accept it. Zhu Tian lowered his head with a smile. Seems like his honor is in a good mood. In a few days, I will leave with Bai Ji for a period of time. We already know the whereabouts of Qing Su. This time, I will personally go out. You guys stay at home and guard the place. Who knows if those people will attack us or not. Also, you guys need to improve your strength. Don't regret it when you are defeated. Your honor is right, I will supervise this area. Your honor can be at ease. Yes, how are the people who went to train? Absolute heaven said in a low voice, 3 of them are heavily injured, while the others are injured to varying degrees. They don't even have time to rest every day. Don't make a move unless it's a matter of life and death. That would be meaningless. Yes. This subordinate understands. Although Yihua didn't plan to get involved in this matter, he still had Zhu Tian pay attention to it. Standing up, Yihua planned to go and take a look at Gong Yu's situation. This Xiao Tian isn't at home, and mother isn't at home either. A woman sitting alone in the bedroom waiting would inevitably be suspected of being depressed. Therefore, he still had to go and take a look. It would be bad if little Tian came back and found out that his wife had become an idiot. After arriving at Gong Yu's sleeping quarters, Yihua saw that Gong Yu was currently taking care of the flowers and plants, and palace maids were following behind her. It seems different from what I thought. Greetings, Your Majesty. When the palace maids saw the emperor, they hurriedly saluted. Of course, Gong Yu was the same. Yihua waved his hand and asked the palace maid to stand at the side. If I have any questions, I will ask Gong Yu. Gong Yu, how have you been these days? Yihua asked faintly. This Gong Yu is the one who is pregnant with the child of the second family in the entire group other than my family. Gong Yu happily said, thank you for your concern, big brother emperor. I've been fine these past few days. Well, if you're really bored, you can go out of the palace for a walk or go chat with Yuehua and the others. Gong Yu was a little afraid to go, but she couldn't say it out loud. She respectfully said, yes, I will go. I'll be going out in a few days. Take care of yourself. Okay, I won't let anything happen to the child. Yihua was very gratified. I have seen the change in Gong Yu with my own eyes. This time, Xiao Tian is rather fortunate. He was just afraid that there would be too much good fortune for him to enjoy. After chatting for a while, Yihua walked out of the bedroom. I wonder how Qingye and the others are doing. He wouldn't be back for a while. That was good. He could spend some alone time with Baiji. 3 days later. Yihua and Donghuang Baiji appeared in Spirit City. However, the 2 of them changed their appearances slightly. They mainly wanted to hear if there were any reactions to Yi Yuanqing becoming the empress. It was also good for Yi Yuanqing to pay attention. Perhaps this was what a big brother should do. This feeling is really good. Donghuang Baiji hugged onto Yihua's arm and leaned on him tightly. Just a while ago, I thought that Yihua was just joking around with me, or maybe he was just making a request. Only today did I know that Yihua was really joking around with me. From the looks of it, I have wronged Yihua. At most, I will just be obedient in the future. Baiji, in the past, I didn't have the chance to properly accompany you. Right now, you should be satisfied, right? Yihua said lightly, and a doting arc could be seen on the corner of his mouth. Yes, I'm so happy I could die. Ha ha ha, that's right. Yihua expressed that he was very happy. My woman being happy is just that simple, and it has nothing to do with money. I, the Supreme Overlord, have never had money before, and I don't even know what money is. This is related to martial arts. As long as one's martial arts are deep enough, one would be able to have endless aftertaste. Men should be strong. Always ready. Let's go in and have a cup of tea. Yihua pulled Donghuang Baiji and walked into a tea house. After finding an ordinary seat and sitting down, Yihua ordered a plate of peanuts and a bottle of wine. Afterward, he listened to what the people around him were saying. Yihua felt that the people that were sitting around him were all grandmaster-level figures. They even know about the matter of adults keeping mistresses outside. Hey, have you guys heard of it? The truth of what happened in the palace this time. Is the process still important? In any case, I feel that the Empress is pretty good. It's true that the Empress is good, but I'm afraid that you all don't know about the process, right? The degree of bloodshed during the process has reached 10 stars. Hearing what you said, I'm curious as well. Just what exactly happened? I'll tell you all about it then, but what about the money for the tea? I'll pay for it. Yihua said faintly. Brother, you sure are generous. Yihua liked to hear these words, and he shouted out, I, young Master Yi, will be paying for all the expenses here today. After everyone heard what Yihua said, they went into a daze for a moment. Soon after, everyone started cheering. The boss is indeed different. Donghuang Baiji let out a light sigh. Even this is happening, this is really enough. Let me tell you all about it. The various abnormal phenomena that happened that day was not a coincidence. At the start, our Empress was completely suppressed. Do you all know why? Why? That's because that mysterious East Royal family's people came over to help the East Royal family. Because of that, our Empress was unable to protect us. Ah, so there was such a thing. What happened after that? After that, it became even more amazing. Our Prince Yi descended from the sky, and with a shake of his body, he scared a bunch of people to death. Those East Royal family members didn't even dare to say a single word, and they directly offered the throne to Yihua with both of their hands. After hearing that, the corner of Yihua's mouth twitched. This rumor can really be called a rumor. Even my main body came out, and my body shook. Donghuang Baiji, who was at the side, covered her mouth and laughed lightly. What are you laughing at? Yihua stretched out his hand and pinched onto the Empress's cheeks, making it seem as if his appearance wasn't enough to achieve such an effect. Nothing much, I just feel that it is funny, that's all. Donghuang Baiji couldn't hold it in anymore. Look at those people in the surroundings, they are all praising Yihua to the heavens. Yihua even wanted to smack this woman's butt, to actually doubt my body. Yihua, what's going on with that East Royal family? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. Yihua didn't plan to hide it from Donghuang Baiji and said lightly, this East Royal family is also known as the East Royal family. East Royal family is their original surname, and every time an emperor abdicates, they would change their name to East Royal family and go to another plane to continue training. Oh, what a coincidence, their surname is actually East Royal family. Donghuang Baiji mumbled, wondering if I am related to them. Yihua said faintly, Baiji, I have a feeling that you are related to this East Royal family. Related? What do you mean? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. End of this chapter. Chapter 12:12. Yihua asked faintly, do you still remember what happened in the past? Are you talking about Zishan's ex-husband? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. Yihua nodded his head, you should be called Marquis or something, right? It is said that he was the one who placed you on Earth, and it should be more appropriate to call you imprisoned. Qingye seems to be the same as well. Donghuang Baiji did not say anything. Yihua continued, this Prince Marquis is originally someone from God's realm. Although his status isn't as high as Lingdu's, he is at least a prince. If we were to hand him over to Lingdu's people, it would be easy for us to discover him. However, if we were to hand him over to a prince from another place, it would be much safer. Yi Hua, are you saying that my father had already started at that time? Dong Huang Baiji was a bit astonished. No, starting from the first in your family. Do you have a grandfather? I don't know. In my memory, there is only father's generation, and father never mentioned anything else. Dong Huang Baiji said in a low voice while tightly wrinkling her brows. Yi Hua stroked onto Dong Huang Baiji's hair, then asked in a low voice, how about it? Are you interested in going and understanding more about it? Perhaps your Dong Huang family has been framed and hidden on earth. I don't want to go. Dong Huang Baiji said lightly. How can I do that? My woman was wronged, and as your husband, I naturally have to help you seek justice. Yi Hua said coldly. You just want to go and act cool, right? Do you still think that I don't know? Dong Huang Baiji said. Yi Hua said in a low voice, am I that kind of person? I just don't want you to bear any crime. If there's anything, let's solve it together. If there's any hatred, let's use blood to wash it away. This is also worthy of your father. Dong Huang Baiji slightly lowered her head. Yi Hua said lightly, idiot, what are you crying for? Are you very touched? Just properly serve me at night, and that will be enough. Dong Huang Baiji could be seen raising her head and revealing out a strange smile. This time around, let me act cool. Yi Hua, fuck, I actually thought that this woman was sad. The result was unexpected. Hubby, no. This is what I discovered. Yi Hua rejected harshly. It wasn't easy for me to find something that I can do. You just have to stand behind me. Would you have discovered it without me? I've also contributed. I don't care. I'll look at you every time. We'll just stand by the side and not talk. Hubby, let me go this once, at most, I will let you have a good time tonight. Dong Huang Baiji's eyebrows twitched. From the looks of it, Yi Hua's heart has been moved. Really? Of course it's true. I'm not like you, who knows how to lie to others. Dong Huang Baiji pouted her mouth. All right then. If you make me happy tonight, I'll give you half of the points. Only half. That's out of the question. All right, what's wrong with giving way to your wife? If it wasn't for us, you can just prepare to be a single dog for the rest of your life. Dong Huang Baiji said petulantly. Dong Huang Baiji did not know how to dote on her wife at all. Yi Hua expressed his dissatisfaction, hee, if you have the ability, why don't you give it a try? Yi Hua, I see that you have been a bit arrogant recently, don't do stupid things. Baiji, I find that you have been a little arrogant recently. Are you trying to challenge my bottom line? Why don't we get a room and spar? Hee, who's afraid of who? I won't kill you. Dong Huang Baiji wasn't afraid at all, I'm just afraid that your legs won't be able to stand stably. Let's go then, my empress. Let's go. However, inside the palace, Yi Yuanqing was currently wearing an imperial robe. Furthermore, it was a specially made female imperial robe, and it seemed to have a different style to it. Right at this moment, Shan Yu was reporting some problems to Yi Yuanqing, and Yi Yuanqing was thinking, didn't Big Brother say that he will be arriving today? Why isn't he here yet? Empress. Shan Yu called out lightly, pulling Yi Yuanqing back to reality. What's the matter? Shan Yu said helplessly, Empress, did you hear what I said just now? I didn't. Shan Yu, this is just like an ancestor. Father even wants me to be her male pet, and even if I'm beaten to death, I won't do it. When the time comes, I will just be thrown into the cold palace by a single sentence. Say it one more time. Shan Yu was a bit absent-minded as he looked at the long report. Say it one more time. I said it for an hour just now, and it was all bullsh**. This time, Yuanqing was listening very seriously. However, Shan Yu said, Empress, I'm worried that someone will come and cause trouble during the coronation ceremony this time around. Are you referring to the Donghuang family name? Shan Yu nodded his head. Other than this family name, is there anything else? Donghuang Baiji said faintly, let's not talk about the fact that there are 3 formidable experts present. Furthermore, my big brother will also be coming this time around. Shan Yu let out a sigh of relief. If Prince Yi is here, everything will be fine. Even if someone from the Donghuang family comes, they will still be safe and sound. Having an extra layer of safety is rather good. Just like that, Yi Yuanqing continued to wait for his big brother. He waited until the sun set, and soon after, night came. Where did big brother and sister-in-law go? Tomorrow is the coronation ceremony, and the 2 of you have a mission that needs to be announced. Then, at a tavern, a man and a woman walked out. The man was slightly bending his waist, while the woman had a relaxed look on her face, seemingly to be in a very good mood. You! Come over and help me up. Yi Hua said petulantly. Donghuang Baiji snorted, do you know how formidable I am? Donghuang Baiji. Do you even need to circulate your energy to do this kind of thing? Do you have any moral integrity? So what? Aren't you very happy? Yi Hua was indeed very happy, but because it was too exciting, he ended up being defeated again and again. I never expected that after so many years, Donghuang Baiji would finally release such a big move. It made my legs go soft, and my waist also felt a bit painful. Didn't you say that you will give me half of it? I have never seen such a shameless person like you. I learned from you, the kind of husband you have, the kind of wife you have. I really have to give up. The 2 immediately disappeared from the spot and arrived at the imperial palace. Big brother, sister-in-law, you 2 are finally here. Big brother, what happened to you? You are injured. Just when Yi Hua wanted to explain, Donghuang Baiji smiled and said, your big brother was too arrogant today, so sister-in-law bullied him. If not for my sister being here, I would definitely let you know what a man is. Yi Yuanqing found it hard to believe. Sister-in-law actually bullied big brother. Big brother looks so miserable right now. Sister-in-law is still the formidable one, to be able to bully big brother to this extent. Looking at his sister's pitiful gaze, Yi Hua decided. Tonight, I am going to fight the Empress. The kind where I won't rest until one of us dies. Yuanqing, your big brother can't hold on anymore. He needs to rest. Yi Hua, sister-in-law, come with me. Yi Yuanqing supported his big brother up. Big brother's legs seem to have gone soft, it seems like he is badly injured. Yi Hua said lightly to Donghuang Baiji, I am going to kill you later. End of chapter. Chapter 12-13. I'm the one who said that to you. Donghuang Baiji said with a smile. In the past, I gave in to you because I didn't want to lose your dignity as a man. But now, you don't want to give in to me anymore. You are showing your cards. Now, you know how weak you are, right? Yi Yuanqing told Donghuang Baiji the things to take note of tomorrow, and Donghuang Baiji expressed that she understood. Big brother, rest well, I will go back first. Don't worry, I will take good care of your big brother. Looking at sister-in-law's strange expression, Yi Yuanqing couldn't help but shiver. Big brother is so pitiful, I should just leave. I wonder if big brother will be able to walk tomorrow. However, Yi Hua planned to teach the Empress how to be a person tonight. However, the next morning. Yi Hua, wake up, the clothes have been sent over. Donghuang Baiji was incomparably beautiful, but Yi Hua, lying at the side like a corpse, it feels even scarier than 1 versus 4, this is simply too cruel. Yi Hua, stop pretending to be dead, hurry up and wake up, you still have to go up on stage to give a speech today. Yihua, go up on stage to give a speech. I reckon that I will need someone to support me up on stage. I didn't expect the Empress to have such a trump card. In the past, she was obviously going easy on me, and now, she is being beaten up so badly. Baiji, let's discuss something. What is it? Don't tell them. Dongwang Baiji went into a daze for a moment, then laughed out loud, to the point where tears were flowing out. Yihua shook his head. This move of the Empress is truly hard to guard against. However, it feels really good. Come over and wear my clothes. Yihua said gravely. What's the big deal about cheating? Look at me, when did I cheat? Alright, my big master, I will serve you. Dongwang Baiji's smile had never been seen before, causing Yihua to feel very gloomy. After wearing his clothes, Yihua drank a pill, then revived. I mustn't lose my face. Yo, hubby, you are still drinking pills. I can't take it anymore, Your Majesty, if you continue to be so arrogant, something bad will happen. Hubby, you love me the most, you definitely won't bully me anymore, hee, now you know to act coquettishly, where did that arrogance you had yesterday go? Yihua laughed coldly. Hubby, please forgive me, I won't bully you anymore, Yihua, forget it, it's rare for the Empress to act coquettishly. As a man, no matter what, I have to be a bit more magnanimous. Am I that kind of petty man? He had a big appetite. As the big brother of the Empress, Yihua's current identity was rather respectable. In actuality, anyone who was smart would know that. Lord Yi is the boss. Without Lord Yi, how could Yi Yuanqing become Empress? On the surface, she was the Empress, but in secret, Lord Yi was the Emperor. On the altar, Yi Yuanqing was dressed in the attire of an emperor. The dragon embroidered with golden silk symbolized majesty, and the dragon crown also looked very domineering. Although it added a feminine flavor, it did not suit the majesty of an emperor. Yihua, who was standing below, looked at his little sister and felt gratified in his heart. Yi Yuanqing was more mature than little Tian, but after this incident, little Tian would also mature. He was looking forward to little Tian's performance in the future. Shan Junren looked at Yihua, who was beside him, and sighed in his heart. This Prince Yi doesn't want to be the emperor himself and actually let his younger sister be the emperor. I don't understand, could it be that he doesn't like me? It's not that he doesn't like me, but the main thing is that I am already the emperor in Kangluo continent. Could it be that I want to run over here and become the emperor? That's too much, it's enough for me to just be an emperor. Yihua, look at Yuanqing, he is even more powerful than me. Donghuang Baiji was a bit envious of Yi Yuanqing, to actually become the empress of God's realm. And I am just the empress of a small place. Compared to Yi Yuanqing, I am not even on the same level. Yihua said softly beside Donghuang Baiji's ear, when you ride on me, you are riding on the entire world. Donghuang Baiji's face turned red, and she couldn't help but pinch Yihua. This bastard, there are so many people here, his skin is so thick. Shan Yu, who was standing at the back, saw Donghuang Baiji's action. She actually pinched Lord Yi, and Lord Yi actually didn't seem to be angry at all. This is too mystical. Just what kind of man is this Lord Yi? So mysterious. Yihua looked at the altar. Right now, the jade seal was being handed over. However, when Yihua looked at the sky, he slightly wrinkled his brows. Such an important moment, there is always someone coming to disturb me. This is truly annoying. If I didn't guess wrongly, it should be that person with the surname Donghuang. Previously, I didn't manage to find an opportunity, but now, the opportunity is right in front of me. Above the sky, countless golden lights could be seen descending. However, under this dazzling light, a powerful might was concealed, causing people to not dare to look straight at it. In the sky, 8 people stood up. They were all wearing the same uniform, golden robes. However, from the collar, it could be seen that the person at the very front was a government official. The collar was flipped up, just like an abalone. Yihua felt that these 8 people were only average, and they were slightly stronger than that Huang Feidi. However, this was just Yihua's point of view. Other people didn't feel the same way. These people are simply even more powerful than the Supreme Emperor. The aura that they released was just like a gale, causing people to tremble in fear. Who is that woman below? The man at the very front had a very delicate appearance, the corners of his eyes were tilted upwards, giving off a very feminine feeling. Coupled with his fair skin, he lost a bit of masculinity. This was Dong Huang Qingru. Dong Huang Qingru had a very feminine name. Yi Yuanqing raised his head and looked towards the sky. This group of people came aggressively, and they didn't even put everyone in their eyes. Wu Ming, young Master Evergreen, and King Yu who were standing at the side were already getting restless. As long as they say a single word, I will take their lives. However, the Empress has yet to say anything. Yi Yuanqing had guessed that something unexpected would definitely happen today, or maybe in the future. However, he didn't expect that something unexpected would still happen today. My name is Yi Yuanqing. Dong Huang Qingru's gaze turned grave, a person with the surname Yi. Why are you wearing these clothes? Yihua slowly walked out of the group and said indifferently, who said that people with the surname Yi can't wear these clothes, and who are you? Where did this monkey come from? Audacious. This is the head guard of the vestibule. Dong Huang Qingru. If you are sensible, hurry up and kowtow and commit suicide. A man behind Yihua shouted out. After hearing that, Yihua went into a daze, then asked curiously, oh? Then, is there a head guard of the vestibule? You know of the Dong Huang Qi? Dong Huang Qingru asked confusedly. F***K, there really is such a title, this is too careless. Just who was the one who came up with such a ridiculous name? Aren't they afraid of being laughed at by others? However, this group of people really does have the surname Dong Huang, that is great. I don't know you, and I'm not interested in knowing you. Are you all from the 9 provinces and 5 seas? Yihua asked curiously. End of this chapter. Chapter 12-14. Dong Huang Qingru's gaze froze. She didn't say anything. However, looking at Dong Huang Qingru's current appearance, Yihua already knew that they were really from the 9 provinces and 5 seas, which meant that they were together with Meng Yao. I wonder if Qing Su and Wei Chang are in this place. It would be best if they are in the 9 regions and the 5 seas. When the time comes, I'll deal with all of them at once so that I won't have to run around. Speak, what do you all want? Yihua asked faintly. Dong Huang Qingru smiled calmly and said, don't you know why I'm here? A few days ago, the Dong Huang Mausoleum and the Dong Huang clan came down, but they haven't returned yet. They must be dead by now. Yihua laughed lightly, your feeling is correct, they have already gone to hell to have fun. You! How dare you! How dare you kill the people of the Eastern royal family? Dong Huang Qingru's eyes focused and immediately released a terrifying aura. This aura was much stronger than that of the East Emperor Mausoleum. At least, that was what Yi Yuanqing felt. Dong Huang Qingru suddenly looked towards Dong Huang Baiji who was behind Yihua. Dong Huang Qingru slowly retracted her aura and her brows slightly wrinkled. You are. Dong Huang Qingru could sense a very pure bloodline from Dong Huang Baiji's body. Only those with the Eastern Emperor bloodline were qualified to possess such a pure bloodline. People like Eastern Emperor Mausoleum and the others could only be considered as a side branch of the Eastern Emperor clan. Yi Hua did not make a sound. Seems like this person seems to have discovered something. That would be for the best. Seeing that Yi Hua did not say anything, Donghuang Baiji said, "My name is Donghuang Baiji. Your surname is Donghuang." Donghuang Qingro was even more confused. The Eastern Emperor family didn't seem to have any orphans in the outside world. Now, a woman with a very pure bloodline actually appeared in the Eastern Emperor family. This was a little unclear. Donghuang Baiji said faintly, "I have already said it earlier." "Who is your father?" Donghuang Qingru asked curiously. Donghuang Pa. Donghuang Pa. There was no such person in the orthodox lineage, so how could this woman have such a pure bloodline? Donghuang Qingru didn't beat around the bush and asked in a deep voice, "Why do you have such a pure bloodline?" Along with what Donghuang Qingru said, Yi Hua and Donghuang Baiji knew that there might really be a connection between the two of them. Donghuang Baiji also wanted to know the reason, thus she said in a low voice, "I don't know. Looks like you'll have to make a trip with me." Donghuang Qingro said faintly. This was related to the problem of losing her bloodline. She couldn't afford to be careless. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. This set of actions was as smooth as flowing water. That slightly tilted cigarette was like a boss, not putting anyone in his eyes. If Yi Hua had to say, what posture was the most handsome and pretentious? Yi Hua said that he was not snapping his fingers, but lighting a cigarette. Especially when he took the first sip, his slightly narrowed eyes revealed a cold killing intent. "I think that you are mistaken about one thing. This woman is one of my people, and it doesn't seem to be appropriate for you to bring her away just like that, right?" Yi Hua said faintly. "I can't appear too radical, right? I can't appear to be too eager, right?" Donghuang Qingru was completely unable to sense Yi Hua's aura, and she thought that Yi Hua was just an ordinary person. After all, in a place like this, it wasn't strange for there to be ordinary people. "Humph. Do I need your permission to take someone away? Just how noble is my Eastern Emperor clan? Are you even worthy to be together with someone with such a pure bloodline?" Everyone who was present took in a breath of cold air. It was hard for them to digest what they heard just now. All in all, this Eastern Emperor clan is a very powerful person. Even the Emperor is just a small soldier over there. Just look at what this person said just now. Furthermore, I didn't expect that Prince Ye's woman is actually a member of the Eastern Emperor clan as well. Listening to this person's tone, her bloodline is rather pure. If that's the case, it would be incredible. Yi Hua slightly narrowed his eyes, then pulled Donghuang Baiji into his embrace and kissed her. This was Yi Hua's usual method of acting cool. Using a woman to act cool, although it was a bit low, a woman like Donghuang Baiji was indeed able to give him face. Furthermore, these people even raised Donghuang Baiji's identity, making the feeling even more different. Donghuang Baiji still doesn't know who Yi Hua is, showing off his own wife. "I'm really impressed. But who asked me to be so good-looking? It is normal for me to show off a bit in front of my husband." Thus, the current scene was Donghuang Baiji hugging onto Yi Hua's neck, and the two were currently kissing passionately. When Yi Yuanqing saw his big brother and sister-in-law, his face turned red. Big brother and sister-in-law are really shameless. There are so many people looking at them, and they actually started kissing. However, Donghuang Qingru, who was in the sky, had a gloomy expression. This man is actually profaning such a pure bloodline. This is simply intolerable. Donghuang Qingru could be seen stretching out her finger, and a golden light instantly condensed on her fingertip, which then instantly attacked towards the back of Yi Hua's head. Donghuang Baiji sensed the golden light, and she opened her beautiful eyes and looked towards Donghuang Qingru. When the latter was looked at by Dong Huang Baiji, her entire body seemed to have stiffened. A huge three-headed golden crow could be seen condensing behind Dong Huang Baiji. This scene gave everyone a fright, and even Dong Huang Qingru was stupefied. Roar! The three-headed golden crow let out a furious roar, and the golden light instantly turned into thin air. However, Dong Huang Qingru and the others were all forced to retreat for over 10 steps, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of their mouths. The void in the sky gradually disappeared, but everyone had yet to regain their senses. This was the first time Yi Yuanqing saw his sister-in-law like this. Yi Yuanqing's face was filled with astonishment. So sister-in-law is actually this powerful, I truly didn't expect this. That three-headed golden crow just now was so terrifying. It seemed as if it was able to tear the world apart. Yi Hua let go of Dong Huang Baiji's red lips and said in a low voice, "We agreed that we would each take half of the loot. Then, I will start first." Dong Huang Baiji laughed lightly, then kissed Yi Hua once again, indicating to him to calm down and to give in to his wife. Yi Hua dotingly pinched onto Dong Huang Baiji's cheek, then looked towards the people who were not far away. "I feel that they seem to have been scared silly. How can this be? I have not even started yet. You all have already been scared silly by my wife. This isn't good, right?" Dong Huang Qingru was indeed scared silly to the point that she peed her pants. That huge void just now. Three-headed golden crow. This is the symbol of the family head. This woman. How can this be? Could it be that she activated her bloodline? That's impossible. Other than the family head, how can there be someone else who is able to activate her bloodline? Furthermore, that three-headed golden crow just now seemed to be even more terrifying. Just what is the background of this woman? However, right now, there is only one thing that I need to do. Dong Huang Qingru could be seen kneeling down on one knee. When everyone behind her saw this scene, they all kneeled down as well. When everyone saw that those people actually kneeled down, they all had astonished expressions on their faces. Why did they kneel down? Could it be that they are admitting defeat? Are they admitting defeat before the battle even started? Right now, Yi Hua was very unhappy. Dong Huang Baiji had snatched away all of the limelight, and there is completely no room for me to display my skills. End of this chapter. Chapter 12-15. These people were simply too cowardly and boring. Weren't they very arrogant when they first arrived? Dong Huang Qingru wanted to shout, but she didn't know what to shout. This was a sign that only a clan master should have. Could it be that she had to call this woman clan master? That's obviously not the case. What should I do? How should I solve this problem? Dong Huang Qingru really wanted to pretend that she did not see it. Yi Hua asked faintly, "What do you mean by this? Why are you kneeling down?" Dong Huang Qingru really wanted to correct him. "This is not kneeling, okay? This is a form of etiquette. Are you blind?" Dong Huang Qingru didn't want to bother with Yi Hua and said towards Dong Huang Baiji, "Young lady, please come back with us to verify what you said." "Prove what?" Yi Hua asked curiously. Dong Huang Qingru glared at Yi Hua angrily, "I'm talking to her, don't interrupt." "Little friend, you are really rude." Yi Hua waved his hand at the air. Paw. This sound was a little loud, but it didn't send Dong Huang Qingru flying. However, Dong Huang Qingru's face tilted. Everyone was shocked, especially those who were standing behind Dong Huang Qingru. How could this be possible? The head guard of the vestibule was slapped in the face, and he didn't even have time to react. Who was this man? Dong Huang Qingru was astonished. She was actually beaten up. How many years has it been? This was the first time he had been slapped in the face. "How dare you hit me?" Do you know what will happen to you? Pa. Yi Hua said faintly, and I only know how to end others. The officials sighed in their hearts. As expected of Prince Yi, he really didn't give them any face at all. He even slapped the Donghuang clan's face when he wanted to. Then who wouldn't dare to fight? This was too terrifying. Fortunately, he was standing on Lord Ye's side. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Initially, Yi Hua was planning to pretend to be a captive. However, after thinking about it, he felt that this wasn't appropriate. From what Baiji had shown just now, she must have definitely let him know something. If not, how could she possibly keep on saying that she has a pure bloodline? If he was the boss of that side and suddenly heard that someone else had a pure bloodline, he would probably be anxious. Thinking about it this way, it seemed that there was something fishy going on. For example, two pure-blooded people were fighting for the position of the family head. Then, one of them cheated and exiled the other. There shouldn't be anything wrong with my deduction. This should be the case. I'll let him bring back the news first, and then I'll go over myself. Are you panicking or not? Donghuang Qing grew. Donghuang Qingrou's face was. Donghuang Qingrou's face was slapped swollen. She looked so embarrassed that she wished she could disappear. But facing such a situation, Donghuang Qingru knew that she was no match for them. If she were to force herself, she would definitely die. Since these two people said they would come, then it couldn't be any better. I said. You will regret this. The gigolo that stands behind a woman. After she finished speaking, Donghuang Qingru disappeared along with her subordinates. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth twitched slightly. Just now, with which eye of yours did you see me standing behind a woman? It was simply making something out of nothing. I will remember these words, and I will return them to you when the time comes. I Yi. I said. Hua. How? Yi. Yi Hua was also aware of this. Just now, he had only slapped them twice, and when the time comes, he would slowly deal with these people. The ceremony continued. After that, Yi Hua gave a speech. Although he said it tactfully, what he meant was that if my little sister dares to mess around, I can only send her off in despair. Anyway, it was all kinds of tactful threats. Anyone who was smart would understand. After all, who would dare to mess around? They would respectfully call him Lord Yi. After the ceremony ended, Yi Hua prepared to bring Donghuang Baiji to 9 provinces and 5 seas. But before leaving, Yi Hua asked his little sister to bring him to Qing Su's teleportation coordinates. When he saw the coordinates, Yi Hua knew that it was the coordinates to 9 provinces and 5 seas. Qing Su was an ordinary person, and he couldn't fulfill the teleportation conditions. Dou Fusher could only teleport to God's realm. If one wanted to go to 9 provinces and 5 seas, one had to rely on this teleportation location. But for someone like Yi Hua, there was no need to use this teleportation. Meng Yao had the strength to come and go as she pleased. After knowing Qing Su's location, Yi Hua had an idea. I'm going to wake Qing Su up. If Wei Chang was in this plane, that would be perfect. They could get rid of him together. After returning to the palace, Yi Yuanqing suddenly asked, Big brother, do you want to go and see father? He has nothing to do with me. Yi Hua said faintly. I, the Supreme Overlord, had just met Yi Hua, and I had already beaten up Yi Hua. This could be considered as helping my mother vent out her anger. If it wasn't for giving my mother face, I would have directly killed Yi Hua. Yi Yuanqing knew that the relationship between his big brother and father wasn't good, so he didn't continue to persuade his big brother. In actuality, he didn't understand why his father was so against his big brother. In actuality, his father is still quite good. Although he always scolds his big brother, at the crucial moment, he still stood up for him. If not for his father, I might. Donghuang Baiji, who was at the side, didn't dare to say anything. There were some things that she could persuade Yi Hua, but there were some things that would make Yi Hua, who has a bad temper, unhappy. Yi Yuanqing pursed her lips. Big brother, are you going to go now? That's right, that Qing Su is in 9 provinces and 5 seas, I have to go and find him. That's right, let your subordinates guard the palace. I am afraid that those people will come back again. Keep this bamboo flute, if you are in trouble, just blow it. Yi Hua passed a bamboo flute to Yi Yuanqing. Yi Yuanqing took the bamboo flute and asked curiously, Big brother, is there a surprise? Idiot, this is to ask Big brother's subordinates to help. Big brother has something to do over there, so he can't come. Yes, big brother, I understand. You and sister-in-law should be careful. Yi Yuanqing was still a little worried. Wouldn't it be a little dangerous if only big brother and sister-in-law went? Big brother's subordinates were so powerful, why didn't he bring them? In the past, Yi Hua had always been asking his subordinates to do things for him, and right now, he felt that he was about to become rusty. It was important for him to go out and exercise his muscles and bones. Big brother understands. Just be a good emperor. You are big brother's pride. After saying that, Yi Hua opened up his arms. Yi Yuanqing lightly hugged Yi Hua. This was a hug between siblings, there was no other meaning to it. Donghuang Baiji stood at the side and did not say anything. She knew that Yi Hua only treated Yi Yuanqing as his younger sister. Seeing her big brother and sister-in-law disappear in front of her, Yi Yuanqing's face gradually tensed up. At this moment, Yi Yuanqing was the queen. She had changed from the little girl just now. But in the 9 provinces and 5 seas, Donghuang Qingru returned to her clan with unwillingness. The Eastern royal clan was situated on a rainbow. End of chapter. Chapter 12-16. This wasn't an ordinary rainbow, this was a rainbow that was stacked on top of each other, layer after layer. Every layer was a different color. However, the color at the very top was orange. Furthermore, every layer was very huge. If someone wanted to attack the Donghuang family, they would have to attack from the first layer up. Every layer was guarded by people, and other than people, there were also beasts. However, the Donghuang family had never been attacked for tens of thousands of years. This was the only time the Donghuang family was exterminated before they even saw the first layer. Donghuang Qingru was the head guard of the first layer, and right now, he was reporting his mission. As the manager of the first layer, Donghuang Fei was drinking his tea indifferently, as if he didn't care about the matter at all, and he even revealed a smile on his face. Floor leader. Subordinates' words are all true. Donghuang Qingru said gravely, feeling that Donghuang Fei didn't believe his words. Donghuang Fei laughed. Qingru, stop messing around. What 3-headed golden crow, it is a serious crime to say it out. It is impossible for the Donghuang bloodline to be outside. If it is, it would be a humiliation to the entire Donghuang family. Speaking till the end, Donghuang Fei's face became taut, warning Donghuang Qingru not to speak recklessly. Donghuang Qingru didn't seem to realize the seriousness of the matter, but now that he heard it, it does make sense. Then, floor leader, what should we do? Just treat it as if nothing happened, don't look into it anymore. Even if something happens, we won't blame it on you, and of course, we won't implicate me as well. Don't tell anyone about this matter, and those people that you brought along, if necessary. Donghuang Fei made a gesture of cutting his throat, scaring Donghuang Qingru. Floor leader, if this matter is looked into, the ones who will lose their heads will be you and me. Subordinate, Subordinate, understood. You can leave now. Yes. Looking at Dong Huang Qingrou's back view, Dong Huang Fei tightly wrinkled his brows. Seems like it's true. As a floor manager, I naturally know some insider information. That was something that happened a long time ago. Dong Huang Fei didn't dare to continue thinking about it. This matter belongs to the family's top secret. If it's really like what Dong Huang Qingrou said, then I'm afraid. I can only hope that that person can't be found. Yi Hua and Dong Huang Baiji were both pointing their swords at this place. This kind of high-level plane teleportation, Yi Hua wasn't able to accurately grasp it, and it was considered to be random. Where to go would depend on the will of the heavens. For example, right now, Yi Hua and Dong Huang Baiji appeared in the same room. The furnishings of this room were quite romantic. They were all bright red, and there were even portraits of women hanging on the walls. They were incomparably seductive and coquettish. However, human reproduction was going on the bed. Dong Huang Baiji went into a daze for a moment, then immediately closed her eyes and turned around. Meanwhile, Yi Hua laughed lightly. This man is useless, look at that woman, she is just pretending. Perhaps the two people on the bed were too engrossed and did not notice their arrival at all. Yi Hua felt that this should be a brothel. He actually teleported to a place like this. That was quite interesting. Pulling onto Dong Huang Baiji's hand, Yi Hua walked out of the room. That woman is simply too dazzling. There's someone here. No. I heard the door just now. It doesn't exist. Don't move. After walking out of the brothel, Yi Hua hugged onto Dong Huang Baiji and observed the brothel. It feels extraordinary. This brothel was cylindrical in shape. Looking down, it was very tall. The height of the brothel was at least tens of floors, and it looked just like those large-scale shopping malls. Furthermore, it was packed with people, and the air was filled with a romantic atmosphere. Yi Hua felt that there was some kind of aphrodisiac in the air. Look at those men, their faces are all red. The boss of this brothel sure knows how to do business. Furthermore, this kind of building doesn't even exist in the God's realm. Yi Hua became a bit interested in the 9 provinces and 5 seas. Bringing your wife to a brothel, interesting, right? Yi Hua couldn't help but tease. You are definitely doing this on purpose. Dong Huang Baiji said petulantly. Yi Hua shook his head and did not explain anything. If I say that I can't control it, Baiji will laugh at me. Walking down the stairs, Yi Hua discovered that how long are we going to walk? Brother, there is a formation at the side, how are you going to walk down the stairs? A man hugged onto a flirtatious woman and said. Originally, he didn't want to remind Dong Huang Baiji, but after seeing how beautiful Dong Huang Baiji was, he decided to give her some face. Yi Hua said faintly, of course I know, I am just bored. After finished speaking, Yi Hua pulled Dong Huang Baiji and walked down the stairs. Dong Huang Baiji covered her mouth and laughed lightly. You are embarrassed, aren't you? Yi Hua felt very awkward. So there is a formation that leads to the first floor. I know about it. And, you know about it, I understand. Dong Huang Baiji covered her mouth and laughed lightly. However, since her husband wanted face, as his wife, she naturally had to give him face. Yi Hua and Dong Huang Baiji were on the first floor, and both of them took a formation to walk down the stairs. The speed of the formation was even faster than an elevator, and it was practically within seconds. Yi Hua felt that this method was pretty good, and it seemed like he was going to have a chance. The first floor of the hall had a different style. The entire hall was circular in shape, and it was much bigger than the hall upstairs. There was a stage at the center, and a few women were currently performing flute skills. The sound was rather pleasant to the ears, and those who didn't know might have thought that this was a formal hall. Below the hall, there were tens of tables, and most of the tables were occupied by a man and a woman. However, at the periphery of the hall, there were those private room-style tables, which seemed to be a bit more hidden. Yihua raised his head and took a look. From the center of the hall, he could see the sky outside. This kind of building sure is interesting. What should I do if it rains? Wouldn't it crush someone to death? Let's go, what are you looking at? You men love this kind of place. Donghuang Baiji urged from the side. Yihua hugged onto Donghuang Baiji's slender waist. Baiji, it wasn't easy for us to come to such a brothel. If we don't admire it, how can we do it? Baiji, don't you think so? Hee, men. To experience the atmosphere of a foreign country, we can just treat it as coming here for a vacation. Yihua patted onto Donghuang Baiji's butt, making him look like a man who was drinking wine. Donghuang Baiji chuckled. I don't believe you. Dear customer, what are you doing? An old man who wore a red gown could be seen walking over and asking. Yihua said faintly, I brought my own lady. The old man took a look at Donghuang Baiji. Donghuang Baiji is a head taller than me, and her temperament is so good. Lady, are you interested in working here? Yihua went into a daze for a moment. Donghuang Baiji was immediately stupefied. Ha ha ha. Yihua let out a hearty laugh. Yesterday, I was tortured by Baiji. Although this old man offended me, I can still spare your life. Donghuang Baiji rolled her eyes. This bastard is actually laughing. Who asked you to laugh? I only sell my skills, not my body. Donghuang Baiji said lightly. End of chapter. Chapter 12-17. Yihua's smile froze as he looked towards Donghuang Baiji. What are you trying to do? No problem. As long as the lady knows how to play a musical instrument, it will be fine. Hearing that, the Abasang was very happy. This lady's appearance is really speechless, she is simply able to stun everyone. Baiji, you are trying to cause trouble again. Yihua hugged onto Donghuang Baiji and said gravely. Donghuang Baiji pouted her mouth, you were the one who laughed at me first. Am I laughing at you? Hurry up and admit your mistake. No, you were the one who bullied me first, you should admit your mistake first. Baiji. I realized that you are a bit arrogant these few days. Ba, Yihua said gravely, fine, if you dare to go, I will call Miss. I won't go, alright, old master. Donghuang Baiji gave in. To actually use such a method to threaten me, can you be reasonable? Patting the empress's butt, Yihua looked at the Abasang and said faintly, you can leave now. Young master, this isn't good, right? How can you obstruct this lady's great future? The Abasang advised. In the future, this lady will definitely be a top performer. Yihua asked faintly, what great future? What kind of future can she have by singing here? Young master, you are gravely mistaken, where is this? Dingzhou's Qingwu country. The biggest country, countless rich and powerful families live in Qingwu country. With how outstanding this lady is, she will definitely attract the attention of many feudal lords. Think about that scene, it will definitely be unprecedented. As he spoke, even the Abasang himself became excited. Yihua finally found out that this is one of the 9 provinces, Dingzhou, and it is also the biggest country. Could it be that there is such a building? This is really interesting. He is my husband. Donghuang Baiji said faintly. Not playing anymore, time to reveal my identity. The Abasang was startled. This is the first time I saw a husband bringing his wife to a brothel, I am simply speechless. Perhaps the two of them had a heavy taste. The Aubusang spat a few words and turned around to leave. Yihua said in a low voice, "If you dare to cause trouble again, you are done for." If you are willing to hit me, then go ahead and hit me." Donghuang Baiji said as she casually found a seat and sat down. Yihua laughed. "Seems like I have doted on her too much recently, to the point where it has become a problem." Yihua walked to the side of Donghuang Baiji and sat down. Yihua called out to Donghuang Baiji and Donghuang Baiji, and of course, Yihua also drank some wine. "I wonder what kind of place this Ding province is, and where is that Donghuang clan?" Yihua said faintly. Donghuang Baiji was pouring wine by the side. Donghuang Baiji was very obedient. When it was time to be mischievous, she would be mischievous, and when it was time to be sensible, she would be sensible. "Should we find someone to ask?" Donghuang Baiji suggested. "Then it would be meaningless. It's like buying a cheat code in a game. It's fun at first, but it becomes meaningless later on." Donghuang Baiji shook her head. "If that's the case, then that's not right. You're the only reasonable one. You have the most crooked reasoning." Donghuang Baiji laughed lightly. Yihua laughed bitterly. "They are talking about the things that happened back then again." Suddenly, the hall turned dark. Yihua felt that this was a type of spell, and not true darkness. Interesting, using magic to replace technology. A ray of light shone onto the stage in the center, and a woman who was wearing a white veil could be seen sitting leisurely on the stage. The woman was hugging onto a pipe. Following the appearance of the woman, the men in the hall started shouting. Yihua sized up the woman. Although he couldn't see her face clearly, he could feel from that arrogant body that the woman had, that woman's face was definitely not ordinary. "What, have you taken a fancy to someone else?" Donghuang Baiji said in jealousy. The number of women that Yihua sized up was quite few, and yet, right now, the woman was actually sizing up someone else right in front of me. Yihua said indifferently, "I have indeed taken a fancy to someone else." Tisk. Donghuang Baiji was speechless. "He's teasing me again." Beautiful sounds started ringing out, and everyone in the hall seemed to be immersed in the music. Yihua couldn't help but sigh, this woman's craftsmanship is pretty good. The more Donghuang Baiji looked at the woman, the worse she felt. This scoundrel couldn't have really taken a fancy to someone else, right? Your eyeballs are going to pop out. Donghuang Baiji couldn't help but remind Yihua. Your wife is walking at the side, can't you give me some face? Yihua ignored her, causing Donghuang Baiji to feel very jealous. After the song ended, the woman stood up and slightly bowed her body, expressing her gratitude. The men below seemed to have gone mad, and the screams were rather intense. There were even people above who were shouting. From the looks of it, this woman's background isn't ordinary. Wan Wan. Wan Wan. Wan Wan. The woman called Wan Wan nodded her head, but she didn't leave in a hurry. On the other hand, the woman called Wan Wan walked onto the stage. Sirs, today is our Wan Wan's wedding day. I wonder which lucky man will be able to obtain our Wan Wan's favor. No wonder there are so many people here today, so it turns out that they are all here to try their luck. Today's wedding day is a day to choose a man, and whoever is chosen will be chosen. This is simply like hitting the jackpot 5 million. The men below the stage all went mad. Wan Wan, my family is rich, I guarantee that you won't have to worry about food and drinks in the future. Wan Wan, follow me, my father is the head of the guards. Wan Wan, my father is a minister. All kinds of people instantly started competing with each other, and it seemed as if they were pimping for their father. However, this kind of thing, it was up to Wan Wan herself to decide. Right at this moment, Yihua asked curiously, Baiji, do you think that she will choose me? Even if she chooses you, I won't accept her. Why? Isn't this a free gift? Yihua teased. If you dare to accept her, I will. I will. Donghuang Baiji bit onto her lips, looking like she was going to cry. Why aren't you coaxing her? What are you going to do? I won't talk to you anymore. Ha! Yihua laughed at Donghuang Baiji. After holding back for so long, she actually said such a sentence. She is still the same as before, I don't even know what she is going to threaten me with. Yihua turned his head and looked towards Wanwan, very curious about who she will choose. Wanwan looked at her surroundings, appearing to be very shy. However, she still appeared to be very serious. The woman who was at the side said softly, Wanwan, you mustn't choose those young masters, they will be very miserable in the future. And, Wanwan understands. Suddenly, Wanwan saw a man at the corner of the stage. The man had a head full of long hair, wore a black robe, and looked very cold. There was a woman sitting beside the man, and the woman was very, very beautiful. Among so many people, only this man was able to enter her eyes. I have a candidate in mind. Wanwan said softly. Everyone present cried out in surprise. She has a candidate in mind so quickly. Just who is it? Wanwan lowered her head shyly, just like a little girl who had just met her lover for the first time. Everyone was very nervous, hoping that this good fortune would descend upon them, that way they would feel very comfortable. However, a white light flashed past. The white light shone onto Yihua's body. End of this chapter. Chapter 12-18. Donghuang Baiji was stunned. How is this possible? This damnable appearance of Yihua, he really can't hide it even if he wants to, and he's giving me trouble everywhere. How could a beauty chase after him just by sitting here and drinking? Bastard, he must have done it on purpose. He just wanted to sit here and wait for a romantic encounter. Yihua revealed a light smile and raised his cup to indicate that he didn't have any intention of objecting. This caused Donghuang Baiji to become even angrier. Yihua, this bastard. To actually propose a toast to me, he is simply a pervert. He didn't even reject a beauty throwing herself at him. What a bastard. Everyone's gaze looked towards Yihua, and they discovered that Yihua was a handsome guy. I can't take it anymore. Why is Wanwan stroking him so lightly? What's so good about such a good-looking guy? This was a pretty boy. Looking at the woman next to him, it was obvious that she had already taken care of him. Abisang realized it was that man again. He didn't say anything and said with a smile, Sir, you're very lucky to have been chosen by our Wanwan. You have to treat our Wanwan well in the future. There was a hidden meaning in the old man's words, especially when he said to love her. He was speechless. It was very ambiguous. Yihua. Just what are you trying to do? Donghuang Baiji said gravely. Baiji, calm down. This Wanwan is a local after all. We can interrogate her properly, right? Do you really think I'm so hungry that I can't be choosy? Yihua said faintly. We have been husband and wife for so many years, do you still not know my personality? If it's a woman, then I will go on you. In that case, my harem should already be in the 5 digits. I think you are. Is Daji beautiful or not? Didn't I not touch her at all? Seriously, you don't trust me at all. Yihua lectured. Can't you at least have some trust in me? Donghuang Baiji pursed her lips and did not say anything. When it came to Daji, Yihua was still very well behaved and did not touch her. But who knew, on that day, Daji's bestial nature suddenly burst out, and she couldn't wait to be bullied by Yihua. Seeing that Wanwan went down to change her clothes, Dong Huang Baiji said, "Let's go." "Baiji, aren't you messing around? If we leave, the other girls will lose face." "I don't have any face. This jealousy of yours is making me dizzy." Yihua smiled bitterly as he shook his head. "This empress is really, are you leaving or not? If not, I'm leaving." Yihua had no choice but to hug Wanwan. After that, he waited for Wanwan. Dong Huang Baiji struggled with all her might, but Yihua couldn't care less. "Let me go. Baiji, don't force me to spank you. You. Shameless. Did you just get to know me today?" Yihua said with a smile. Seeing that the empress was angry, it felt rather good. Not long after, Wanwan changed into a plain robe and walked over leisurely, making everyone present jealous. Was it fine as long as they were good-looking? Sure enough, this was a society that valued appearances. At this time, Wanwan was still wearing a veil and walked over accompanied by Obasan. Yihua let go of Dong Huang Baiji. Dong Huang Baiji, who was standing at the side, was feeling very jealous. Dong Huang Baiji decided to ignore Yihua for the entire day. He had just arrived, yet he had already attracted a peach blossom. "Young master, you're so lucky. Wanwan is our top girl here," Obasan said ambiguously. Wanwan lowered her head and didn't say anything. She was very shy. Dong Huang Baiji snorted. "As long as this woman acts like this, men will definitely be distracted." "Humph. Scumbag Yi." Yihua looked at Wanwan who was in front of him and revealed out a smile, "I'm just lucky." Dong Huang Baiji actually saw Yihua smiling, and she was so frightened that she nearly exploded from anger. This fellow always has a stern face, and yet, he actually smiled at me. I, Dong Huang Baiji, cannot accept this. Then, young master, please take off Wanwan's veil. Yihua laughed lightly, then lifted Wanwan's veil with both of his hands. Dong Huang Baiji was having a hard time enduring. This is simply like lifting off a veil. To actually lift off someone else's veil in front of his wife. Yihua was a bit surprised. This Wanwan's looks are indeed not bad. Although she can't be compared to the Empress, she is still a rare beauty. Young master. Wanwan said in a low voice, looking incomparably bashful. Yihua patted onto Wanwan's head, let's go. Alright, young master. Everyone looked at Yihua and Wanwan leave, and they still hadn't come back to their senses. That frivolous action just now, it's as if he's treating a slave. This hateful poser. He deserves to die a horrible death. After walking out of the brothel, Yihua saw a different city. This city was actually quite similar to Wushu Empire, the only difference was the tall buildings. These tall buildings that were built using wood really had a different style to them. For example, the brothel behind Yihua could be considered as one of the best. The streets were still normal, and the population was also quite large. The housing prices here are definitely not cheap, right? Yihua held on to Dong Huang Baiji's hand. This jealous woman is very unhappy right now. Wanwan, this is your real name? Yihua asked curiously. Wanwan, who was walking beside Yihua, said in a low voice, young master, this is my real name. Oh, what about me? I came from a small place, can you tell me about this Ding province? Of course, young master. Wanwan paused for a moment, then continued, young master, within the 9 provinces and 5 seas, Ding province is considered to be below average. Because the tectonic plate is like a huge cauldron, that's why it was named Ding province. And this Qingwu country is the biggest country in Ding province, and all of the sects in Qingwu country are under their jurisdiction. Yihua nodded his head. So this is how the sects are governed by the state. Which province is the most powerful? Young master, the most powerful is Weihai. Wan said in a low voice. Yihua was very curious, why is the sea the most powerful? Because there are some very powerful people living on top of Weihai, and their surname is Donghuang. Yihua held on to Donghuang Baiji's hand. Look, didn't I find them? That Donghuang family is hiding on top of Weihai. Wan, how did you know all these? Yihua asked curiously. Wan's face was red as she said in a low voice, Young master, I only heard it from others, I don't know if it is true or not. Yihua nodded his head, let's go and find an inn first, the weather here is really not good, it's a bit hot. In the blue sky, there were 2 suns hanging on the sky. What are you trying to do? You even brought people to get a room. Donghuang Baiji said angrily. What's the matter with that? Donghuang Baiji really wanted to just toss this matter aside and go home. Furthermore, we're here for a vacation, am I going to anger my wife to death before even starting? When Wan who was at the side heard that they were going to get a room, she became very shy. Luckily, gold seems to be useful everywhere, and I successfully got a luxurious suite. Money really can do anything you want. Money is really a good thing. Wan, go and pour a cup of tea. Yihua shouted out. All right, young master. Wan went out of the room to fetch water, and right at this moment, Donghuang Baiji asked in a low voice, Yihua. Just what are you trying to do? Nothing much, I just want to ask about the situation, you don't have to be so nervous, alright? End of this chapter. Chapter 12-19. How can I not be nervous? Who knows what you are going to do? Donghuang Baiji said angrily. Looking at Wan entering the house, Donghuang Baiji remained calm. Wan poured 2 cups of tea and placed it on the table, then walked to Yihua's back and asked shyly, Gongzi, do you need Wan to give you a massage? Of course, let's see how good Wan's cooking is. Don't worry, young master. Wan's cooking is very good. Yihua smiled. While holding on to the teacup with his right hand, he didn't drink from it. Donghuang Baiji was so angry that she didn't even have the mood to drink tea. Wan, how old are you since you started working in that kind of place? Yihua asked curiously. Wan was stunned and said with disappointment, does young master dislike Wan working in that kind of place? A little. Wan, you still haven't answered my question just now. Yihua said lightly. Gongzi, when I was 8 years old, I was sold to a brothel. Yihua let out a deep sigh. What a miserable story. Baiji, what do you think? Humph. Donghuang Baiji snorted. Young master, this is not a story. That's right, if this is really a story, then it would be a bit too old-fashioned. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Wan, why did you choose me? Yihua asked again. Hearing that, Donghuang Baiji went into a daze for a moment, then became vigilant. Young master, do you believe in fate? Of course I believe in fate. Then, it must definitely be fate that brought us together. Wan smiled tenderly, and her slender fingers placed onto Yihua's body and lightly rubbed onto his body. This made Donghuang Baiji very unhappy. Yihua smiled and said, Wan, your relationship with that plump woman is very good, right? Yes, she is very nice to me. Wan, after massaging for so long, you should be tired, come and drink some water. Yihua passed the teacup to Wan. Wan said respectfully, young master, I'm not thirsty. Young master, please drink. How can that do? Be obedient, Wan. Yihua said faintly. Young master, there's really no need, Wan said in a low voice. Yihua could only place the teacup on the table and said helplessly, Wan Wan, you are in cahoots with that obeison, right? Young master. Wan Wan asked in confusion. Your trick is a little outdated. I brought a woman to a brothel, which is a taboo in a brothel. It's strange that the obeison didn't say anything. And you, of all people, you chose me. Although I am handsome, you are too arrogant. Do you see this woman? You actually chose me. Don't you feel ashamed? Or did that obeison tell you about it? Hearing that, Dong Huang Baiji went into a daze. What is going on? Yi Hua gave Dong Huang Baiji a look. Woman, it's just that your hair is long but your knowledge is short. You can't even see through such a trick. You just have to remember one thing, the heavens will not drop a pie, even if it is going to drop, it will not hit you. If it hits you, then you will die. Young master, what are you talking about? Even I am confused. Wan Wan's face was filled with confusion. Yi Hua picked up the teacup, drink it. Young master. I'll let you drink. Drink it. Yi Hua retracted his smile and said gravely. Wan Wan's expression gradually became grave, and she put down her hands from Yi Hua's shoulders. How did you discover me? Wan Wan asked coldly. Yi Hua blinked his eyes towards Dong Huang Baiji, then said with a smile, I was just speaking nonsense, I didn't expect that it would actually be true. Wan Wan, you tricked me. Wan Wan's palm turned into a dagger and pierced towards Yi Hua's head. However, when the dagger was just a centimeter away from Yi Hua's head, it stopped. Speak, who is the person behind this meticulous scheme of yours? Yi Hua asked gravely. Although it was just a guess, he was still curious as to who was the one behind this. I just arrived here, and I was already discovered by someone, and there is even an ambush waiting for me. It's just that this person is a bit stupid to actually use a honey trap. Doesn't he know that the women around me are all extremely beautiful? Furthermore, I don't like women who don't have any personality at all. I am completely not interested in women who throw themselves into my arms. Yi Hua looked just like a skeleton. Wan Wan revealed out a malicious gaze, but she didn't say anything. Yi Hua stood up, then turned his head around and looked at Wan Wan, then lightly caressed her head. I think, you should know Wei Chang, right? I don't know him. Women usually speak in reverse, you should know him. Wan Wan, Dong Huang Baiji was very speechless. Yi Hua is truly a scoundrel. However, this Wan Wan is actually a spy, and furthermore, she is already lying in ambush in the brothel, waiting for Yi Hua to fall into her trap. Yi Hua said faintly, Wei Chang is a smart person, he definitely wouldn't use such a method to deal with me. It must be someone else, right? To think that using such a method would be enough, you really don't understand me. Yi Hua was also speaking nonsense. Who asked this woman to be stupid, to be able to use such a small method to deal with me? She is truly too naive, she is even more naive than me who is an undead. Bullshit, Lord Ming is both brave and courageous, who does he think he is? Hearing that, Yi Hua went into a daze, and even Dong Huang Baiji went into a daze. Wei Chang is really here. Yi Hua laughed, Wan Wan, don't be angry, let's have a good chat. This Lord Ming is your superior, right? Furthermore, you seem to like him a lot. At this moment, Wan Wan's face really turned red. However, very quickly, she said with a straight face, no. Lord Ming is so outstanding, I and the others can only look up to Lord Ming's back view. Alright, this is just a little fangirl, the kind that has already been brainwashed. However, she is a little silly. Oh right, do you know Wei Chang? What ability does that man have to actually be fancied by the palace master, to actually be able to suppress Lord Ming? From what I see, the palace master's heart must be muddled. Yi Hua, This Wan is too awesome, to actually dare to insult the palace master behind his back. This palace master is truly pitiful, his heart is muddled. Seems like Wei Chang's position is very high right now, this is a bit troublesome. In actuality, Wei Chang and I are opponents, the reason why I came here this time is to find him. And then kill him. Can you help me find him? As long as I kill Wei Chang, your Lord Ming will return back to his original identity. Yi Hua said gravely. Wan didn't say anything, and after a while, she said, for Lord Ming, I am willing to do anything. Courageous, for Lord Ming to have a subordinate like you, he would be very honored. Of course. Wan said proudly. Dong Huang Baiji was a bit stupefied. Yi Hua only said a few sentences, and this Wan, my God, is she so gullible? This Wan must be a newbie, right? Wan, what is your sect called? Yi Hua asked curiously. Take a guess. Chapter 12:20. Yi Hua, Donghuang Baiji, damn, this Wan. Is she really a normal person? Why did she have to be sent to carry out such a difficult mission? It is too dangerous. How would mere mortals like you know? Listen up. Indestructible Shrine. The most powerful existence in the entire 9 provinces and 5 seas, even if it is that big aristocrat, they are not our opponent. While speaking, Wan's face was filled with worship. Yi Hua shook his head. I originally thought that it would be difficult, but in the end, this indestructible shrine was sold out by a little girl. Sigh. When your boss dies, I will tell him that this girl is not bad. It sounds very powerful. Yi Hua said in a low voice. Of course. Where is your indestructible shrine? I won't tell you. Wan went into a daze for a moment, then hurriedly changed her words. Yi Hua's expression stiffened. You also don't know. Who says that I don't know? Wait till I complete this mission, I will know. Yi Hua, my God, it turns out that this girl still doesn't know. Yi Hua asked curiously, then, what is your mission this time? This is a very confidential mission, how can I tell you? Yi Hua laughed, since you have already said so much, it doesn't matter if you say more. Wan thought about it and agreed, I seem to have said a lot just now. My mission is actually very simple, it is to follow by your side and report to me at any time. Yi Hua nodded his head and removed the seal that was placed on Wan's body. You? Wan, how about we make a deal? Yi Hua smiled. Wan snorted, my immortal divine palace's people are not afraid of death, even if you put a knife on my neck. Even if you put a knife on my neck, I, Wan, will not cooperate with you. Clang! A sharp knife was placed on Wan's neck. Wan's gaze became deep. How do we cooperate? Yi Hua, Donghuang Baiji, I have never seen such an unprofessional person, can't you at least resist a little? How about we cooperate, you continue to hide by my side and pretend that you don't know anything. Yi Hua said faintly. You want to kill Wei Chang? Yes, after killing Wei Chang, your Lord Ming is already relaxed, isn't it? Wan nodded and felt that there was nothing wrong with what he said. Sure. Wan said very earnestly. This caused both Yi Hua and Donghuang Baiji to feel like laughing. Wan is truly a newbie. Right, your contact person should be that obeson, right? Yi Hua asked faintly. Yes. Then shouldn't you report your safety now? Wan was confused. How do I tell them I'm safe? Yi Huadong and Huang Baiji were speechless. Just who taught you? In fact, Wan didn't have anyone to teach her. Lord Ming thought that the more ordinary someone was, the more real they were. In the end, she was tricked. How are you going to report the mission? Someone will contact me when the time comes. I see. Yihua nodded his head. Wanwan stood at the side gloomily, thinking that her mission had been discovered by the enemy. Looks like I didn't hide it well enough. Fortunately, I should be able to help Lord Ming this time and make up for my mistakes. Baiji, what are we going to do first? Yihua asked curiously. Up to you, you can go and do whatever you think is the easiest. Outside, Donghuang Baiji still listened to Yihua. Yihua nodded his head. Then, let's make a trip to the Wei Sea first and deal with the Eastern Emperor family first. What? You guys are going to the Wei Sea? Deal with the Eastern Emperor family? Wanwan shouted out in surprise. This woman said that dealing with the Eastern Emperor family is the easiest, but this man actually said that he is going to deal with the Eastern Emperor family. Could it be that the Eastern Emperor family is the easiest in their hearts? They are definitely crazy. I am not going to be crazy along with them. They are simply going to throw their lives away. What's wrong? Can't I? Yihua asked faintly. Of course not. The Eastern Emperor family is very powerful. If you guys go and deal with the Eastern Emperor family, you guys will definitely die. I won't be accompanying you guys. Wanwan wouldn't go to that kind of place even if she was beaten to death. That won't do, you have to lead the way for us. I won't go, I still have to serve Lord Ming. Wanwan said solemnly, giving off an attitude of, if you guys want to go and seek death, I won't accompany you guys. Yihua smiled. Think about it, if you help your Lord Ming get rid of the Eastern Emperor family, wouldn't Lord Ming value you a lot? At that time, he might even favor you a lot. This man's words are a bit reasonable. If I were to get rid of the Eastern Emperor family, Lord Ming would definitely let me stay by Lord Ming's side and serve him. Alright then. Isn't this answer a bit too fast? Yihua and Donghuang Baiji were very curious. Just what is this child's brain thinking? Alright, we are currently in Ding province, how are we going to get to the Wei Sea? Yihua asked curiously. In actuality, since we are already here, we only need to teleport to the Wei Sea. However, since I promised to go on a trip with Baiji, no matter what, I have to take a look around. That's right, I just remembered, in a few months' time, there will be a huge gathering at Tang Province's Tian Shan Mountain. At that time, heroes from all over will be gathering there, and the scene will be rather lively. Alright, Wanwan still doesn't want to go and seek death, thus she can only drag it on. What you mean to say is that the Eastern Emperor family will be going there too? Of course, there is also the one who just became a god, deity Mengyao, who will be attending the gathering too. Speaking of deity Mengyao, Wanwan's face was filled with adoration. Yihua felt that this should be a huge gathering. Thus, he asked curiously, Wanwan, is this gathering going to be a fight or something? Are there any prizes, for example, rare items? I am not sure about that, but there should be. Then, how big is the scale of this gathering? Will all the people from the 9 provinces and 5 seas be attending? Yihua asked curiously. Of course, this gathering will be called Tian Shan Mountain Cauldron Seeking. Yihua understood. Right now, I know where the Eastern Emperor family is located. With Wanwan around, I will be able to dig out that indestructible shrine at any time. What is left is Qing Su. That fellow loves lively scenes, especially when there are good things to be found. If this is really a big event, that fellow Qing Su will definitely be there. From the looks of it, I have to settle Qing Su first. After all, if I miss this village, I won't be able to find this shop anymore. If I want to find Qing Su in the future, it would be very difficult. Alright, let us go to Tang Province then. Tian Shan Mountain. Yihua decided. Donghuang Baiji more or less understood what Yihua meant. He should be going to look for Qing Su. After all, Qing Su is also in the 9 provinces and 5 seas. Whether or not he will be able to come will depend on his luck. Wan let out a sigh of relief. Going to Tian Shan Mountain is at least better than going to Eastern Emperor family. Chapter 12:21. However, what Yihua didn't expect was that Qing Su was actually here, and furthermore, he was even currently in the brothel. However, Qing Su wasn't doing anything bad. Instead, he was talking to the obeson, who had a dumbfounded look on his face. Indestructible shrine. Ha! Just now, Qing Su felt that this obasang was a bit strange, and so he decided to ponder about it for a bit. As expected, there is a problem with this obasang. To actually be from Indestructible Shrine, what kind of person is he, to actually dare to take such an arrogant name? Qing Su's fat face was filled with disdain. Indestructible Shrine. Do you have any large-scale events here? Qing Su asked indifferently. Beside him was a dumbfounded Do Fusher. To Qing Su, floating battle was still too weak, and he was currently looking for things to make floating battle even stronger. However, the required materials could only be found here, and he had no idea where to start, so he could only ask around. If he wanted to find out more information, he would naturally have to look for large-scale events. There would be a lot of information there. Obasang said with a dumbfounded expression, "Yes, there is. Tian Shan Cauldron Contest will be held in Tangzhou. At that time, heroes from all walks of life will attend." When Qing Su heard this, he felt that it was interesting. Tian Shan Cauldron Aspirations. This name sounded quite domineering. He just didn't know if it would have what he was looking for. Qing Su waved his hand, and Obasan walked out in a daze. He stood there for a long time before he came back to his senses. However, he didn't know what he was doing. With doubts, Obasan put on a professional smile and entertained the customers. The Qingshu will smiled and said, "Little Daodu, let's go to Mount Heavenly Cauldron and gain some experience." Do Fusher nodded numbly. On the other side, Yihua was also preparing to head to Tang Province. However, this Tian Shan Mountain Tripod competition still needed to wait for more than a month. This caused Yihua to be a bit vexed. Where am I supposed to go during this 1 month? He could only accompany the Empress to have a good stroll. Of course, there was also a burden, Wan, by his side. This caused the Empress to be slightly unhappy. After all, it was a world of the two of them, and the sudden addition of a third will was still very displeasing. Moreover, this Wan was simply a chatterbox. If you didn't talk to her, she could talk on her own for an entire day. Dong Wang Baiji couldn't hold it in any longer. Yihua felt that this Wan was rather interesting. To be able to converse with me for an entire day, she is simply invincible. Right now, Yihua and the others had already arrived at Tang Province. However, what Yihua didn't expect was that this Tang Province was actually smaller than Ding Province. The capital city was not as grand as the Ding Province. It felt similar to the Kangluo continent. However, the air in the Tang Province was very fresh, and it contained rich spiritual qi. People said that if you wanted to cultivate, you should go to the Tang Province. If you wanted to live a luxurious life, you should go to the Ding Province. The air here is truly too good. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out happily. While running, Dong Huang Baiji really did not care about her image at all. Yihua sighed helplessly. Fortunately, there isn't anyone in the surroundings. If there was someone who saw the Empress's little daughter acting like this, I would have no choice but to silence them. Wan said proudly, "Of course, the Tang Province has produced the most exalted gods. Even exalted goddess Mengyao lives in the Tang Province." Speaking of Mengyao, Yi Hua and Dong Huang Baiji immediately thought of Yi. He was also a well-known existence here. I really didn't expect this. Wan, why haven't we seen any towns after walking for so long? Yi Hua asked curiously. Young Master Yi, there aren't many towns in the Tang province, there are only sects and so on. Because the Tang province is a province that mainly focuses on cultivation, not many people are willing to waste their time there. Looking at the boundless grassland and the mountains on the horizon, Yi Hua's mood was pretty good. Humans, when it's appropriate, it's still better to come out for a vacation to relax and disperse the haze in one's heart. How far are we from the heavenly mountain? Yi Hua asked faintly. It's still quite a distance, I guess. In any case, we just have to walk towards those mountains. Wan only knew this much. Yi Hua nodded his head. I hope that I will be able to bump into Qing Su this time. That would be perfect. I have already formulated a complete set of rules for Qing Su, and I guarantee that I will let Qing Su know what it means to be a boss. Since I was able to deal with you in the past, I will be able to deal with you today as well. If not, how am I supposed to be your boss? And that Wei Chang, I am really looking forward to it. It has already been a very long time since I exercised my muscles and bones. I hope that the two of you can give me some strength and not disappoint me. Just as Yi Hua was daydreaming and beating up his subordinates, a black figure suddenly descended from the sky and directly smashed onto the ground not far away from him. If I had walked a bit faster just now, that black figure would have directly smashed onto my head. This black figure is definitely a high-level scamming technique. Look, there are people coming. Along with the corpse falling onto the ground, another two people descended onto the ground. The two people looked at the corpse, then looked at Yi Hua, then shouted out gravely, "You killed someone." Yi Hua didn't expect that the two people were really scamming. Speaking of which, scamming is the same no matter where it is.